Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you were watching fifth and final part of What If Naruto Was Saved by Sand Siblings. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
Kakashi's apartment in Konoha. Sakura and Kakashi together. Sakura and Kakashi, who have been secretly dating for the past year, were both dozing off in bed with their arms encircling one another. Sakura didn't want a scandal, and Kakashi didn't want to become the object of his fellow Jonin's enmity because of their age difference and moral differences. When Sakura opened her eyes, she found herself dozing on Kakashi's chest. His mask free face was visible, and she was overcome with gratitude that he felt at ease enough to forego wearing it inside the home. When Sakura crept up to kiss Kakashi on the lips, Kakashi opened his eyes to see Sakura's beaming face. Sakura uttered his pet name, Morning Kashi. "Good morning, my dear pupil," joked Kakashi, to which Sakura gave him a pat on the chest. Sakura said, "You just had to ruin it," as she stood up and headed to the bathroom while wearing only a t-shirt and underwear. "Let's get dressed in." She started, just as an explosion rocked the apartment. Sakura and Kakashi hurried to the window to look outside, and they both noticed that black clouds were coming from various locations throughout the village. As Sakura and Kakashi started to toss their clothes and equipment aside, Kakashi yelled, "We're under attack. Go find Lady Tsunade." "I'll go find Guy and the others," Kakashi added, and Sakura nodded. "All right," Sakura exclaimed as she sprinted to give him a kiss. "Be careful," Sakura added, and Kakashi nodded. Sakura then hurried out of the apartment and put on her forehead protector. Sakura wondered as she ran down the street, what is going on? How did the enemy get into the village? Sakura turned to see three ninja running towards her, and a shout of, "Hey," sounded. Sakura turned around and stopped, saying, "What's going on? Is the village?" She started, then stopped as a kunai headed straight for her head. "What?" Sakura asked herself, perplexed. As one of the ninja attempted to stab Sakura with a kunai, shouting, "Die demon lover," Sakura sidestepped and punched him in the head with such force that his brains splattered all over the floor. The other two ninja were smacked aside and into a wall by Sakura, who then took hold of his lifeless body and wielded it like a club. Sakura stared at them and thought, what the hell? They're Konoha ninja. What's going on? Hyuga training area, featuring Hanabi and Hinata. "Hiya!" roared as Hinata knocked another branch member to the ground. When the explosions occurred, Hanabi and Hinata were training together. As soon as they did, 10 ninja attacked them. Half of them were members of the Hyuga branch, and the other half were dressed in root uniforms. Thus far, all but one have been killed or knocked out by Hinata and Hanabi. Hanabi dodged a slash from a root Anbu and used a Juken strike to shut down his leg. He then rose to his feet and struck the Anbu beneath his chin, snapping his head upwards. After the Anbu collapsed, Hanabi turned to face her sister and uttered, "Elder sister, they're our own villagers." Frantically, she asked, "Who do we trust?" "No one," Hinata exclaimed, "we stand alone." At that moment, 20 more root Anbu burst in, causing both sisters to assume a defensive position. A shout was heard by both girls as they awaited the attack. As Leaf Hurricane Lee entered the scene as a green blur, he kicked one Anbu in the face, breaking his mask and sending him flying across the training area. Lee then turned around and kicked another Anbu. Anbu yelled, "Damn it, kill this bastard," as two ninja charged Lee. As they did so, they were attacked by insects and started to scream in pain as their chakra was being drained. As he emerged and stood next to Hinata, Shino remarked, "Looks like we arrived in time, Lee." "Hinata, are you and your sibling okay?" he inquired, to which Hinata nodded. "Yes, we're okay," Hinata replied. "What's going on?" Hinata inquired as Shino fiddled with his spectacles. "Judging by the explosions and the Konoha shinobi trying to kill us," said Shino. "I'd say a coup just started," according to him. Alongside Kakashi. Unaware of what was happening, Kakashi ran through the streets of Konoha and engaged 3 shinobi so far, 2 wearing root uniforms and 1 wearing standard shinobi attire. As he turned a corner, Kakashi saw several familiar faces and thought, what the hell is going on? Why are they attacking us? Guy, Kurenai, Asuma, and Anko were all engaged in combat with the root Anbu that had encircled them. Anko sent 4 snakes biting into a root anbu from under her sleeves. She then used the snakes to draw the man in and kick him fatally, killing him by sending cartilage from his nose into his brain. Kurenai signaled with his hand and placed another anbu inside a genjutsu. The anbu watched as Kurenai vanished from view. He started looking around when he felt like he was being encircled by vines. Kurenai then emerged from the vines and stabbed him in the neck with a kunai. With his body falling to the ground, Kurenai, who was now behind the anbu, pulled the kunai out. Asuma was fending off 4 anbu at once with his trench knives when one of them charged at him brandishing a sword. Asuma blocked an attempt at a thrust by the anbu by sidestepping and slashing open his throat. 2 more attackers then approached him with swords, but Asuma jumped and spun, severing both of their heads as they hit the ground. Asuma was prepared because he was going over hand signals when the final one hurried in. Fire style. Burning ash, Asuma shot a dense cloud of smoke at the anbu, then crushed him and set off a spark that killed him. Guy, who had the most enemies with 6, leapt into the air, kicked 3 enemy ninjas in the air, knocking them out. Guy charged the 3 surviving anbu, who had drawn their swords. The 3 fled with their swords raised, but Guy took the initiative. Guy leant over as the enemy leant back after Guy ducked under a swing and delivered an uppercut that knocked him out. The other 2 anbu pulled out multiple shuriken and hurled them towards Guy. Guy managed to seize the unconscious ninja and utilized him as protection when the shuriken struck him in the back, killing him. Guy was ready to enter when a flash of lightning passed before his eyes. Kakashi, brandishing a rakery, charged in and used his jutsu to decapitate the opposing ninja. Guy grinned and said, "Kakashi, my young friend. How are you this fine morning?" Kakashi began to perspire. Before the others arrived, Kakashi exclaimed, "Guy, you really are something else, huh?" "What the hell is going on, Kakashi?" replied Anko. "I come out for Dango with Kurenai and the whole village erupts in chaos," she responded. Kurenai remarked, "There has to be a reason for this. We need to find out what it is." Everyone nodded when Kakashi stated, "We need to get to the Hokage Tower." Asuma approached Kurenai and said, "You guys leave. I have to get Konohamaru and the others. Be safe, okay?" He asked, planting a kiss on her lips before sprinting off in the direction of the Western Training Grounds. "Let's go," declared Kakashi, and Anko, Guy, and Kurenai followed. Hokage Tower. Featuring Shizune and Tsunade. Tsunade raised herself and threw another darter from the Hokage Tower's roof to a group of root anbu below. The rock crushed the group of root anbu that was approaching from the east. Tsunade's heart broke as she heard the sounds of battle and peered across the burning village. "Danzo, you crazy son of a bitch," Tsunade exclaimed, causing tears to well up in her eyes. "God damn it," she said. "Lady Tsunade, we need to plan a counterattack," Shizune remarked, grabbing her shoulder. "Lady Tsunade," Yugo remarked from behind her mask, "the Anbu barracks was bombed, most of the Anbu were killed. We're what's left," and Tsunade gritted her teeth as soon as she said that Ibiki, Yugo, and 16 Anbu appeared. As Tsunade threw off her green haori and said, "We are going to defend this village or die trying," Yugo and Ibiki nodded. "Cat, Ibiki. You and your squad are coming with me and Shizune," Tsunade said. Ibiki grinned and said, "I can't imagine a more fitting fate for a ninja. Alright everyone, get ready to fight." As she and the others leapt from the building to the ground below, Tsunade nodded. Tsunade noticed more than 200 root anbu, regular ninja, Hyuga, and Inuzuka encircling them as soon as they touched down. A root anbu approached and greeted Lady Tsunade, saying, "Lord Danzo ordered you to be taken alive. Surrender and we will spare you." Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the statement. Tsunade yelled, "I'm thinking of an answer," as she rushed forward and punched the dead anbu in the chest, her fist piercing his body. "Of something between, no fucking way, and go, fucking fuck yourselves," Tsunade exclaimed, removing her hand from his lifeless body. A lone ninja yelled, "Kill them all," as the other ninja encircling Tsunade and her group drawn swords, kunai, and other weapons. The group then charged forward. Inuzuka compound, including Hana and Sume. When the attack occurred, Sume Inuzuka was attending an early morning clan meeting with Hana and a few other people. As she and the others fled, they witnessed a group of root anbu and Inuzuka members attacking other Inuzuka members. Sume and her dog Kuromaru were running towards a group of root ninja when they both jumped in the air and started to spin. At this point, Sume, Hana, and their dogs were the only ones left fighting as the others were killed. As Sume and her nin dog tore through the group of Anbu, gore, limbs, and blood flew everywhere. Sume and Kuromaru stopped and wiped the blood off themselves. Fang over fang, Sume thought to herself. Sume yelled, "You stupid bastards, just get out," when she turned to see Hana still fighting. A rogue Inuzuka slashed Hana across her chest, ripping her Chunin jacket open with his claws. Hana grabbed his arm, flipped him onto his back, and slammed him into the ground. After that, Hana stomped on his neck, crushing his windpipe. Hana then released her hold and turned to face the root Anbu, who was charging in her direction. However, before he could get closer, Hana's dogs attacked him and jumped on him. One bit his neck, ripping out his throat. Another bit his leg, severing his artery. And the last bit his stomach, ripping it open and exposing his intestines. A voice said, "Lady Sume," and several Inuzuka rushed in. "You and Hana have got to escape. We're outnumbered," he said, leading the other Inuzuka into battle alongside the root Anbu. Sume yelled, "We can't just give up Botan," as she slashed the throat of another Anbu. "This is our home," she added. Botan dodged a sword slash and said, "Just go. There is no time to argue. Konoha is lost. All we can do now is stay alive." Sume growled. Hana sprinted over to take her mother's arm. Hana pulled Sume and said, "We need to go, Mom." "Come on," to which Sume moaned. "Fuck," was all Sume said as she spun around and bolted along with her daughter and their dogs. Botan saw that their leader had let their daughter go. "Kiba, you traitor," Botan yelled as he landed and saw Kiba with Akamaru. "Godspeed," he thought before dodging a gray vortex. As he assumed his taijutsu stance, Kiba growled at him and said, "I guess I just missed my mom and sister." "No problem. I can still catch them," he continued, and Botan growled back. Kiba laughed as Botan said, "Over my dead body." As the two men charged at one another, Kiba said, "That can be arranged." Konoha Training Grounds, featuring Ebisu, Moegi, Udon, and Konohamaru. As the fighting in the village continued, Konohamaru and his group watched on, tears welling up in his eyes at the sight of his home being destroyed. Konohamaru was staring at the smoking Hokage monument when he thought, "Grandpa, what happened here?" Suddenly, the sound of footsteps fell behind them, and all four of the team members turned to face each other with their kunai drawn. Asuma yelled, "Konohamaru," and dashed in their direction. As he ran to embrace Asuma, Konohamaru yelled, "Uncle Asuma." "What's going on?" "We were training when we heard the explosions," he said. Asuma declared, "There's a coup underway. I don't know who to trust." Ebisu adjusted his glasses and said, "We need to get out of here. My students aren't ready for something like this, but two Jonin can handle anything." Asuma nodded. Asuma stated, "We must leave the village." Moegi exclaimed, "We need to find our friends. What about Hanabi, Sakura, and the others?" Udon grabbed their entire attention by saying, "We can go and hide out by Naruto's grave. We go there and wait for you to come back." Asuma nodded. Asuma said, "Okay, you three go there and wait. Ebisu go find the Hyuga sisters. I'll go get Kakashi and the others." Ebisu nodded. Asuma and Ebisu ran into the village, while Konohamaru and his group ran to Naruto's grave. "Very well," Ebisu said. "I had hoped I'd never see something like this again. Now I've seen the village attacked twice in my life." As Asuma and Ebisu ran into the village with the sounds of battle erupting all around them, "Neither did I," Asuma said. Alongside Sakura. Seeing the devastation all around her, Sakura fled in the direction of the Hokage Tower. To date, she has eliminated 4 of her fellow shinobi. Sakura ran forward, thinking, "I must be getting close." As she rounded the corner, she saw Tsunade, accompanied by a group of Anbu fighters, thought, "I found her." Tsunade dodged a blow from behind as she threw a punch that struck a root Anbu in the head, splattering his brains all over the floor. With a kick to the abdomen in revenge, Tsunade sent the Anbu flying into a building, whereupon he was killed. As Sakura ran up, she yelled, "Lady Tsunade." Two rude Anbu saw Sakura and moved in to attack. Sakura screamed as one of the Anbu pulled out a kunai and slashed at him. Sakura grabbed the man's arm and broke it in half. Next, Sakura gave him a knee stomp that broke his leg in two and knocked him to the ground. The second Anbu approached and tried to stab Sakura as she was doing so, but Sakura stopped the attack by grabbing the sword with her gloved hand. Sakura then split the sword in half and used a sweep kick to throw the Anbu off balance. To finish the attack, Sakura kicked the Anbu into a group of several people, knocking them to the ground. Sakura ran up to Tsunade and she yelled, "Sakura, what the hell are you doing here?" Sakura said, "I came to help you." "What's going on?" To which Tsunade scowled. "I never thought he'd have the balls to do this," Tsunade remarked, "but this is Danzo's work." At that moment, the ground shook, and everyone turned to see something horrifying. Tsunade exclaimed, "You've got to be shitting me." Sakura and Tsunade gaped as they saw Itachi Uchiha in full Anbu armor approach the large red skeletal figure made of chakra, with a man standing in the center. Itachi calmly replied, "You are right, Lady Tsunade. Now surrender, and I guarantee your deaths will be swift." He was preparing his Susanoo for combat. "You, Cat, Shizune, and your apprentice should leave. Me and the others will hold them off," Ibiki yelled, grabbing Tsunade's attention. Tsunade shook her head. Tsunade started, "I can't leave. I'm the Hokage. I can't." But Itachi interrupted, slamming his Susanoo's sword down and severing two of Tsunade's remaining Anbu in half. Ibiki yelled, "Go goddammit," as he started to use hand gestures known as summoning jutsu, and he slammed his hands to the ground. Itachi was encased in an Iron Maiden that appeared to be an Injamomo statue as it emerged from the earth. "Go now," Ibiki yelled as the Iron Maiden started to tremble violently. Sakura started to pull Tsunade away and said, "Let's go, Lady Tsunade." "Fuck," Tsunade yelled. "I can't beat Itachi, but still, damn it," she thought to herself. "Cat, Sakura, run now," Tsunade exclaimed. Sakura, Yugo, and Tsunade all started to flee the battle by running across the rooftops. Ibiki grinned as he formed a back 2. Back formation with his remaining Anbu. The Iron Maiden started to fragment, allowing Ibiki to see Itachi's Susanoo. Ibiki said, "Okay boys, we are about to die. Kill as many as you can before you fall." Itachi stood there looking serious as the Iron Maiden was destroyed. Additional Root Anbu arrived, and one of them said, "It has been an honor serving with you, sir." Ibiki declared, "I feel the same," and he and his Anbu charged into battle once more. "Leave go, boys," Ibiki yelled. Alongside Kakashi, Asuma, and the rest. To get Sakura and Tsunade, Kakashi, Asuma, Anko, Guy, and Kurenai were all racing to the Hokage Tower. Everyone nodded as Kakashi uttered the words, "We have to make it. I won't lose Sakura." Asuma thought about Choji, Ino, and Shikamaru and said, "I know how you feel, Kakashi. I lost my students as well. All of them." Shikamaru. "You're smarter than this." "I know it," Asuma thought, hoping his feelings were unfounded. Kurenai pointed to 4 figures he saw up ahead and exclaimed, "Look, it's them." Everyone could see Tsunade, Yugo, Sakura, and Shizune running in their direction as they raced across the rooftops. Sakura ran up to him and gave him a hug, exclaiming, "Kakashi. You're okay," she replied. "Yeah, I am," replied Kakashi, giving her a hug in return. Tsunade grinned as she realized this. "All right," Tsunade pondered. "We are meeting at Naruto's grave with the others. What are we going to do?" Asuma said, grabbing her attention. "Lady Tsunade." Anko said, "I say lead a counterattack. Let's kill these fuckers." Tsunade shook her head. They all widened their eyes when Tsunade said, "No, we can't." "Itachi Uchiha is here," she said, startling them all. Guy questioned, "Are you serious?" Tsunade nodded. Tsunade clenched her fists and uttered, "Even if we defeat Itachi, most of us will die trying. We are outnumbered and outclassed." Tsunade inhaled deeply as Kat asked, "So what do we do?" Shocking everyone, Tsunade declared, "We escape to Suna and live to fight another day." She then started using hand signals and slammed her palm onto the ground to call for a slug, saying, "Send word to Suna." Konoha has fallen and we are coming. The slug replied, yes, my lady, and then vanished. Let's go, Tsunade uttered as she and the others started walking toward Naruto's grave. A short while later, the tomb of Naruto. Tsunade and the others discovered Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon, Ebisu, Hinata, Hanabi, Lee, Shino, Hana, Sume, and their dogs when they arrived at Naruto's grave. Thank goodness, Lady Tsunade, Ebisu exclaimed as he approached. What's the plan? He inquired, and Tsunade gave them all a quick glance. Tsunade announced, we're heading to Suna. We'll divide into 4 groups, which are Kakashi, Guy, Hinata, Hanabi, and Lee, gesturing to them. Yes, ma'am, Kakashi nodded. Tsunade went on, Sume, Hana, their dogs, Anko and Shino, are next. Sume nodded. Excellent, Sume remarked. Tsunade said, assume, Ebisu and his team will be together, and Asuma nodded. Take that, Asuma. At last, it's going to be Sakura, Shizune, Kurenai, Kat, and me, Tsunade remarked, glancing at her group. Yes, Sakura replied. Everyone nodded when Tsunade said, move out and go in different directions. Good luck. And may Kami be with you, she added. After that, everyone divided into groups and started heading in different directions. In conjunction with Team Kakashi. In their pursuit to reach the Suna border, Kakashi, Guy, Lee, Hinata, and Hanabi were racing through the countryside of Konoha. We're making good time, Kakashi thought to himself, if we keep this up then we should, but suddenly a figure appeared in front of them, forcing them to stop. Neji, Hinata exclaimed, startled to see her cousin in front of them. Neji declared, pulling out his Byakugan and assuming his taijutsu stance, you will not pass. Even if I die in the attempt, I will ensure to kill a few of you, he added. Kakashi looked at Neji and said, no, thinking that someone would have to fight him in order for us to pass. He's here to stall us. There must be a pursuit team behind us. Kakashi-sensei, Hinata stepped forward. She assumed a fighting stance and spoke, shocking everyone by saying, I'll hold him off. You go and make sure Hanabi. Hinata started, but she was struck in the back. Then, with her hands alive with chakra, Hanabi charged at Neji, shouting, go now, as she engaged Neji in hand. 2. Hand combat. Hanabi stunned everyone by hitting Hinata from behind and knocking her unconscious. I'm sorry sister. But you should go, I'll be fine, Hanabi thought to herself. Seeing this, Kakashi mentally cursed as he picked up Hinata, saying, Guy, Lee. Let's go, but nobody moved. Now damn it, he yelled. Guy and Lee gritted their teeth and sprinted past Neji and Hanabi, who jumped and gained some distance upon seeing this. Why save such a worthless failure as her? Neji scowled. As she assumed her taijutsu stance, Hanabi uttered the words, because I love her, and Neji growled. I guess me and your father are alike, Hanabi continued, making sacrifices for the greater good. She added, she has been miserable all her life. Maybe she can find some happiness. Neji said, adopting a taijutsu stance, your sacrifice is in vain. She is destined to die at my hands. Hanabi declared, I won't let that happen, as she prepared for combat. Alongside Team Asuma. Asuma was scanning the area in an attempt to identify any enemies who might be hiding, while Ebisu, Konohamaru, Moegi, and Udon were all sprinting to put as much distance as possible between them and the village. Asuma thought, nothing yet, but all of a sudden, he and his group were under attack from the left. Watch out, Asuma yelled as they quickly ducked away, and when he saw shadow tentacles, his eyes widened and he answered, no. Emerging from the shadows, Shikamaru stood before Asuma and his group, addressing them with a, Asuma-sensei. You look well, and a, please surrender. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, expression. With his teeth clenched, Asuma pulled out his trench knives and said, Ebisu, adding, take the kids and go. I'll hold him off. Konohamaru then spoke. Konohamaru pleaded with Uncle Asuma to, don't, but Asuma turned. Asuma yelled, there's no time. Just go, causing Konohamaru to flinch. Ebisu then took hold of Konohamaru's shoulder and pulled him. As he pulled Konohamaru away, Ebisu yelled, let's go. Goodbye, Asuma, he said, leading his group of runners away. Asuma asked, "Is there any way I can talk you out of this?" Shikamaru gave him a sidelong glance. "No," Shikamaru uttered icily. Asuma said, "Very well," taking his position. "This is going to be such a drag," Shikamaru remarked as his shadow began to take the shape of tendrils. Alongside Sume team. While Sume, Hana, their dogs, Anko, and Shino ran through the woods, Shino used his bugs to look around for any potential attackers. When his bug returned, it alerted him to the presence of a single enemy following them. Shino told his team, "Kiba is tracking us. He is alone right now, but he may have reinforcements close behind him." Sume yelled, "Damn it, I'll stay behind and take him on," to which Shino merely shook his head. "No," Shino replied. "You three are too valuable to lose. You and your daughter for political reasons and Anko for her battle prowess," he responded. "I will face him. We are former teammates and I know his fighting style, I stand the highest chance of beating him," he responded. Anko told Shino, "You got balls, kid. Are you sure?" And Shino nodded. With a positive expression, Shino nodded to Sume, Hana, and Anko. Sume said, "Okay, Shino. I'm sorry." "Well done," Hana wished. "Kick the ass," Anko commanded. Shino stopped and turned around, saying, "I bid you farewell." He heard Sume and the others leave and stood there for a short while before Kiba and Akamaru arrived. Both of them were covered in blood as they stared at Shino. With a sly smile, Kiba said, Well. Shino, long-time buddy." Shino remained silent as his bugs emerged from his sleeves and surrounded him. "No conversation, you haven't changed a bit," Kiba remarked, taking a food pill and giving one to Akamaru. "Well buddy. Looks like this is the end of the line for you," Kiba said, turning more feral and making Akamaru red. "Let's get him, boy," Kiba exclaimed as he and Akamaru charged in. In conjunction with Team Tsunade. As they continued to run through the forest, there was a loud rumbling from behind them. Everyone turned around and saw a red line coming towards them as it cut the trees in half. "Duck," Tsunade yelled. Sakura, Kurenai, Shizune, Yugo, and Tsunade were making good time towards Suna. "We should be at the border in a few hours," Tsunade said, and her team nodded. The trees split in half and started to fall toward everyone, but Tsunade and Sakura used their super strength to stop the trees from falling on them before they could crush them. All of them shot to their feet, blood piping cold. Itachi, with his Susanoo, charged at them, thinking, "I'm using too much chakra. It had best stop using my Susanoo," deactivated the device, and pulled out his sword. "Lady Tsunade, take the others and go," Yugo yelled as she rushed Itachi and pulled out her sword. "I'll hold him off for as long as I can," Yugo yelled as she got closer to Itachi. Sparks flew as both of their blades clashed. When Shizune suddenly raced over to Sakura, showing off her Senbon launcher, she clenched her fists and was about to get assistance. Asuka emerged from hiding and assumed her stance as Shizune fired her Senbon at her opponent, who had used a pair of twin-hook swords to knock them out of the air. Shizune said, "Lady Tsunade, Sakura. Go now," and Tsunade became very agitated. Tsunade yelled, "Shizune, no," but Shizune just gave her a sidelong glance. Tsunade started crying as Shizune urged her to think of the others, and, "We need you alive." "Uncle Dan would want you to go," Shizune added, striking a chord in Tsunade's heart. Sakura addressed her as Lady Tsunade, seeking direction from her master. Tsunade, Sakura, and Kurenai started running towards Suna while Yugo and Shizune stayed behind. "Sakura, Kurenai," Tsunade said through her tears, "let's go," before turning to face Shizune. "Thank you, Shizune," Tsunade said, "for putting up with me for all these years." As she turned to face her youthful adversary, Shizune thought, "Goodbye, Lady Tsunade." She pulled out a kunai and assumed her stance, saying, "Kami, give me strength." In the meantime, Naruto is in Suna. As Naruto signed the paper, he thought, "I'll go with more D ranks at the hospital." He set the paper aside and was about to grab another one when the door suddenly burst open, frightening him. "What the hell?" Naruto yelled. Naruto was going through papers in the Kazekage office. "What's wrong, guys?" worried Naruto, seeing as Temari, Jiraiya, and Obito all looked pale and wide-eyed. "Naruto, Temari exclaimed as she ran up to him and met his gaze. It's bad, she added, setting off a heart pounding sequence in Naruto. Jiraiya hurried in, saying, Tsunade sent me a slug messenger. Konoha has fallen, and Tsunade and what's left of her allies are making their way to the border, causing Naruto to turn pale. As he entered, Obito exclaimed, we have to take action. We can't just stand by and watch. Clutching his fists and getting to his feet, Naruto felt the pressure building on his shoulders. He had to do something, even though he was only the temporary Kazekage. They all nodded when Naruto said, get Baki, the Anbu, and every available Jonin and Shunin we have. Naruto then said, let's go save our friends. Naruto, Temari, Obito, Jiraiya, Karen, and 50 Suna shinobi are present in Suna Desert. In full combat gear, Naruto, Temari, Obito, Jiraiya, Karen, and roughly 50 Suna Anbu and shinobi rushed to the eastern border to intercept Tsunade and any other Konoha shinobi that might be on the run. Temari turned to face Naruto, who was growling under his face coverings, saying, damn it, how the hell did this happen? Temari urged Naruto to calm down and keep your head. Focus on saving Lady Tsunade and the others, Temari added. Naruto nodded. Naruto said, I just hope we make it in time, as he and his group raced across the desert. Alongside Hanabi. After blocking a blow from Neji, Hanabi was suddenly struck in the shoulder by a Juken strike, which caused a sharp pain to shoot through her arm. Hanabi flinched back, massaging her arm and scowling at Neji. Neji was standing there, disappointedly staring at his cousin without even panting heavily. Hanabi snarled as Neji remarked, is this all you can do? One would think that the daughter of the head of the Hyuga clan could do something more impressive. With her hands alive with chakra, Hanabi charged at Neji, preparing herself for another attack. I will stop you, she said, her teeth clenched. Neji easily swatted away Hanabi's Juken strikes, which were thrown in several directions, like slaps from a child. Neji then parried another strike, throwing Hanabi off balance. Neji moved in and struck Hanabi's chin with a palm strike that was not chakra-powered, causing her head to snap back. Neji carelessly stood above Hanabi, sending her to the ground. Hanabi got up and leapt back. I never thought I'd have to use this, Hanabi scowled at Neji and inhaled deeply. But you asked for it, she added, raising her hand to make a hand sign that released the caged bird seal. Hanabi, on the other hand, became very surprised as Neji stood there unfazed. I had a feeling you were going to do that, Neji remarked, reaching up to take off his forehead protector. Neji removed his forehead protector to show that his seal of the caged bird had vanished. What? How? Hanabi exclaimed in alarm as her greatest plan to beat Neji went awry. Neji put his forehead protector back on and said, the same month that Naruto was killed, Lord Hiyashi saw where you and Hinata's loyalties were. He removed my seal in order for me to replace you. Hanabi's eyes widened at that statement. Neji said, now you get it. You and your sister were destined to be disposed of, and Hanabi started to cry. Neji sighed as Hanabi steeled herself and reverted to her stance. I may not win, Hanabi said, activating her Byakugan once more. But I won't make it easy for you. Neji said, you're postponing the inevitable, as he reactivated his Byakugan and assumed his stance. Alongside Asuma. Asuma blasted a black cloud of ash in Shikamaru's direction, shouting, fire style, burning ash. Shikamaru covered his face as the ash enveloped him. Holding his breath, Shikamaru started to go through the hand signals. Just as Asuma clicked his teeth, a spark appeared, and Shikamaru slammed his hands onto the ground. Asuma remained vigilant as the fire subsided and revealed an earth dome, while the ash cloud burst and engulfed the area where Shikamaru was. Shikamaru calmly exited the dome after it broke apart, unharmed by the explosion. It's been a while since I've seen you use that jutsu, he remarked, standing in front of Asuma. Asuma tried to defuse the situation by saying, Shikamaru, you don't have to do this. We can both walk away from this. Shikamaru shook his head. No going back, sensei, Shikamaru replied. Konoha can't last the way it was being ran. If we have a Hokage like Danzo, then things can be better, said Shikamaru. Asuma narrowed his eyes at Shikamaru's words, more security and elimination of both inside and outside threats. If Konoha had done things differently, then we could have done so much. Shikamaru clenched his fists and glared at Asuma, like keep Choji and Ino from being killed. Nothing could have changed that, Asuma said. We could have stopped so much if Lord Third had killed Sasuke immediately, an enraged Shikamaru declared. He turned on the village despite all the signs he showed. If we killed him as soon as he got that curse mark, then Choji and Ino would be alive, Asuma shook his head. Asuma remarked, that's wishful thinking, Shikamaru. How far have you fallen? You're smarter than that. Enough was enough, and Shikamaru pulled out 6 kunai and threw them to the ground. Using the 6 shadow tendrils she had created, Shikamaru picked up the kunai. Before unleashing his shadows on Asuma, Shikamaru uttered the words, "This is the end for you, sensei." Asuma used his trench knives to deflect the approaching shadow. Controlled kunai. As the sparks from the colliding blades started to fly, Asuma's years of combat training showed as he dodged and blocked every blow. Asuma ducked beneath one kunai, only to be met by another as it approached his face. As the blade sliced his cheek, causing blood to flow, Asuma turned his head away. Asuma leapt away, but Shikamaru wouldn't let him go. With a gesture of his hand, Shikamaru gave the order for his shadow tendrils to launch the kunai in Asuma's direction. 5 of the kunai were blocked by Asuma, but the final one got past him and pierced his flak vest, though not all the way through. Asuma grunted and withdrew the kunai, only to find blood on the tip of the blade. Asuma thought, at least it didn't hit my vitals, and he turned to face Shikamaru, who had knelt down and gestured with his hands. Shikamaru had sent Asuma a shadow in an attempt to possess him. Asuma leapt aside, pulling out a few shuriken and hurling them at Shikamaru, who leapt aside. Damn it, Shika is gone, Asuma thought to himself as he prepared to fight once more. Asuma thought to herself, crap, I gotta think of something and fast. Alongside Shino. Fang over fang, Kiba bellowed as he and Akamaru, who was enraged by Kiba, charged at Shino. As Shino saw the 2 spinning vortexes approach, he calmly held his ground. Shino's bugs formed in front of him, flying out of his sleeves. Abarame's secret art. Insect wall. Shino's insects arranged themselves into a dense wall and started to release chakra, causing the wall to glow a pale color as a whole. Both Kiba and Akamaru struck the wall, but were unable to break through because it absorbed the force of the blow. Instead, they bounced back and landed in a crouch. Damn it, Kiba yelled as 2 swarms of bugs approached him and Akamaru. Dodge boy, Kiba exclaimed, and both of them leapt aside to avoid the approaching swarm. As Shino was being sent across the ground, Kiba was clocked across the face, but he did not see Shino emerge from the swarm in front of him. When Akamaru noticed this, he charged at Shino in an attempt to attack him from behind. Shino spun around and started to duck and avoid the claw that Akamaru had swiped. Shino tried to get away from Kiba, but he was sliced across the chest, ripping open his jacket, despite his best efforts to avoid the cut. Shino jumped back. Even with the numerical advantage, you are still unable to take me down. Shino adjusted his sunglasses and looked at Kiba. Relying on brute force alone is not an avenue for victory, Shino said, to which Kiba growled. This isn't a sparring match like when we were genin, Kiba said, you have no chance of beating me, Shino, but Shino shook his head. My mission is to buy time, Shino stated. My mission is a success. Now they are too far for you to catch up, and engaging in combat after fighting me will only lead to your death, he stated. As Shino sighed, Kiba yelled, damn you. Suddenly, a group of 20 Root Anbu landed, and Kiba yelled, about fucking time you showed up. The captain apologized, saying, sorry, sir. We rushed as fast as we could. What are your orders? Kiba grinned. Shino sighed and Kiba said, let's take this prick out and then chase after the others. As he gathered his bugs, Shino thought, 22 versus me. I can at least kill 10 before I fall. Shino said, let's continue, as Kiba and his Anbu encircled him. Alongside Yugo and Shizune. Itachi slashed at Yugo as his sword went over her head, but Yugo parried the blow with a stab to Itachi's midsection, and Itachi sidestepped the blow. Itachi slashed down, but Yugo saw it coming and brought her sword up to block the attack before it could land. She didn't see the kick coming until it struck her chest, sending her skidding back across the ground. Itachi stood there motionless as Yugo stopped and glared at her. You're still as talented as ever, Itachi, Yugo said, grabbing her Anbu mask and taking it off. So why are you fighting for Danzo of all people? Yugo questioned. Itachi said simply, loyalty, and Yugo nodded. Just right, Yugo remarked. While this was going on, Shizune continued to battle Asuka and wasn't doing as well as Yugo. Yugo dodged as Asuka's twin hooks went by her, just missing her neck. In response, Shizune pulled out a kunai and slashed at Asuka. After dodging Shizune's blows, Asuka brought her kunai in front of her to defend herself, and Shizune's eyes widened as she saw Asuka swinging her swords and connecting both hooked ends. Shizune was slashed across the abdomen by Asuka's swords after they had penetrated her kunai, but the kunai stopped the sword's progress and prevented it from causing a fatal wound. Shizune leapt back, passed a chakra through her hand, and started self-healing. Shizune wondered, who is this girl? She seems too good to be one of Danzo's pawns. Is she an Itachi apprentice or something? Asuka turned to face Itachi, who was battling Yugo. Master Itachi is still fighting that Anbu, she thought to herself. I better finish off this woman so I can assist him, she thought as she reverted to her original stance. I have to defeat her at all costs, Shizune thought as she reached into her kunai holster and pulled out another weapon. Alongside Hanabi. Neji parried Hanabi's Juken strike and returned fire with one of his own, but Hanabi blocked it and dropped to deliver a sweeping kick. Neji easily outjumped Hanabi's kick and struck her in the face, shattering her nose and sending her hurtling across the floor. Neji lunged towards Hanabi, who leapt back to her feet and assumed a defensive stance. Neji unleashed a barrage of blows on Hanabi, who attempted to parry and block as many as she could. Neji then struck Hanabi in the chest, causing her to cough up blood due to lung damage and the loss of chakra points. Neji performed acrobatics, jumping over Hanabi and kicking her in the back, sending her to the ground once more. Neji also kneed Hanabi under the chin, making her see stars. Neji yelled, "Give up Hanabi," glancing down at his bleeding, bruised cousin. You have no chance of beating me, Hanabi shot him a look. No, Hanabi stammered to her feet, IW. Won't. But before she could finish, Neji hit her in the chest again, knocking her to the ground before turning around and leaving. Neji began charging his hands with chakra as he spoke to Hanabi, who was lying on the ground in excruciating pain from her damaged organs and bloody cough. This is your last chance, he said. Never, was Hanabi's response as she forced herself to stand up. Neji shook his head as Hanabi adopted her stance and coughed up blood. All right, Neji uttered. He surged ahead at top speed while Hanabi stood by. Neji parried before Hanabi could strike again, knocking the young girl to the ground and causing her to clutch her chest as Neji's hand struck Hanabi's heart. Elder sister. I'm sorry, Hanabi thought as Neji knelt down, and she started to choke and convulse as she looked up through hazy vision and started crying. Neji placed his palm to Hanabi's forehead and said, "Don't be scared. It is your fate." Hanabi bared her teeth in a fit of rage. Go fuck. Hanabi started, but she was cut off before she could say anything more. Neji struck her Brian with a Juken strike, killing her instantly. Neji let out and closed her eyes just as a group of 30 rude Anbu landed. Hanabi, bleeding from her eyes, ears, and nose, was on the verge of passing out. The captain said, "Sir, we have arrived. What are our orders?" As Neji turned to face him. The captain nodded and Neji gave the order, chase after the group. Capture is possible, terminate if necessary. Neji then started walking back to Konoha, thinking as he went, I believe Lord Hiyashi would like to decide what to do with her corpse. Neji reached down and picked up Hanabi. Alongside Asuma. Asuma shot a stream of fire in Shikamaru's direction, but Shikamaru dodged and then pulled out multiple shuriken to throw at Asuma. When Asuma got closer to Shikamaru, he used his trench knives to smash the shuriken out of the air. Asuma said, using a blade on Mishika, bad idea, as he kicked Shikamaru in the chest and sent him skidding back. Shikamaru, seeing that Asuma was so close, reached back and took out his wakizashi and started to clash blades with Asuma. With his sword lowered, Shikamaru abruptly stopped and charged Asuma, who prepared himself as he approached. Asuma used his trench knives to block Shikamaru's sword blow, but Asuma still sustained cuts to his chest that tore open his flak vest. Asuma leapt back, saw that Shikamaru was also attacking with the shadow of his sword, and realized what had transpired. Asuma grasped his wound and thought, I get it now. He misjudged Shikamaru and realized that the shadow of his sword was essentially acting as a second blade. Damn it, Asuma thought to himself, it couldn't have been the chubby one or the snotty blonde. Out of all my students to turn evil, it just had to be the genius. As Shikamaru prepared his own stance, Asuma returned to his own, and Shikamaru charged Asuma, sword ready. Asuma was about to retaliate when he sent a stab in his direction, so he sidestepped and the sword's shadow went by. With a single gesture of his hand, Shikamaru diverted his sword's shadow to Asuma, who was still within reach as the shadow stabbed him in the thigh. Shikamaru grinned. Asuma leapt backward several feet and grasped his heavily bleeding leg. You nicked the artery, Asuma uttered as he removed his forehead protector and wrapped it around his leg to stop the bleeding. Damn it, he exclaimed before turning to face Shikamaru. He looked at Shikamaru and said, you've learned something new. You always said learning was a total drag. If I knew how to do this, Shoji and Ino would still be alive, Shikamaru uttered. He then summoned his shadow tendrils once more and sent them hurtling toward Asuma, who tried to avoid them but was hindered by his leg. Asuma leapt to safety, landed, and started to follow the hand signals for fire style, fire. However, he abruptly stopped when his body froze, exclaiming, what the hell? I can't move, just as he heard someone speaking behind him. As he emerged from behind a tree, Shikaku Nara declared, shadow possession complete. You took too long so I came to see your progress, he said to Shikamaru, who turned to face his father. As he started to walk, Shikamaru declared, I had the situation handled. 3 more moves and I could have gotten him. Shikamaru inquired, did you get the others? And Shikaku gave a nod. Shikaku made Asuma's blood boil by saying, yes. We found Iruka and the 2 ramen shop people escaping to the north. They were captured as per Danzo's orders. Asuma yelled, Shikaku, you bastard. You were my father's advisor. We served in 2 wars together, how could you betray Konoha like this? Shikaku turned to face Asuma. I'm working for my family and clan, Shikaku declared. I lost my godson and goddaughter. I won't let Shikamaru suffer the same fate due to incompetence from poor leadership. Asuma growled as he started to struggle. Asuma sighed as Shikamaru stopped in front of her and the 2 men exchanged a, Asuma-sensei, look. Shikamaru then said, I'm sorry it has to end like this. Asuma asked, can I have one last smoke? Shikamaru nodded, reaching into his pocket to retrieve his cigarettes. He then placed one in Asuma's mouth and lit it with his lighter. Assumed viewpoint. Observing the emotionless, icy countenance of his erstwhile pupil, Asuma found himself immobile and resorted to smoking his cigarette while Shikamaru brandished his sword near Asuma's throat. Asuma puffed on his cigarette, thinking to himself, I failed. He had failed Shoji, Ino, and now Shikamaru. Shikamaru had returned with his sword. Is this how you felt about your student's dad? Asuma asked herself as Shikamaru lowered his sword, which appeared to be happening slowly. Asuma thought one last time about a particular black-haired woman as the blade got closer to his neck. Kurenai. My love. I'm sorry, Asuma said to himself before the sensation of cold steel touched his neck and everything went dark. Alongside Shino. When Shino turned around and saw Kiba and Akamaru approaching him, he sent a swarm of his bugs flying toward an Anbu who was being devoured by the bugs and screaming as they were sucking out his chakra. The Anbu eventually passed away from chakra exhaustion and fell to the ground. Shino ducked back as Kiba swiped at him with his claws, and Akamaru followed suit. Shino was now avoiding both of them and was having trouble because he wasn't a close quarters fighter. Shino sent a swarm of bugs towards Kiba and leapt back to get some distance. Kiba turned to face Akamaru and said, boy, get ready. Akamaru nodded. Kiba erupted in a fang. Over. Fang attack, and Akamaru responded with hand gestures. Akamaru then unleashed a fireball, striking Kiba and engulfing him in flames. Shino furrowed his brow as Kiba roared, fire fang over fang, hitting his bugs and burning them to death. Shino looked around, thinking, he has a new technique that is not from the Inuzuka arsenal. I have lost half my bugs so far. I cannot fight much longer, Shino thought to himself. Shino realized as he started to make a plan, I have miscalculated. I have killed 8 of the Anbu. Much less than I anticipated. When Kiba got close to Shino, he took out several smoke grenades from his pockets and threw them to the ground, shooting a thick cloud of smoke in the process. Even though Kiba missed Shino's attack and fled into the smoke, Kiba could still smell him. As he charged Shino, Kiba exclaimed, "Nice try, bug boy. But you can't fool my nose." Kiba then slashed Shino across the back, shocking him when Shino vanished into a swarm of bugs and all that was left was his jacket. Kiba yelled, "What?" As he started to steal away, Shino thought to himself, "My bugs can release pheromones that can mask my natural smell." "Your sense of smell is good, Kiba, but not exact," he thought to himself as he was hiding behind a tree with several bugs all over him. Shino thought to himself, "I can't lead them to where the team is heading. I'll head through the land of rivers and take an alternate route." With that, he crept away. Kiba yelled, "God motherfucking damn it," as he turned to face his surviving Anbu. "Find Shino and put him in the fucking ground," Kiba exclaimed, leading his men to start searching the area for Shino. With Shizune and Yugo. Itachi and Yugo were engaged in a sword fight, with Itachi emerging victorious thus far due to Yugo's lack of proficiency in Kenjutsu and Sharingan. Yugo sidestepped her attack and slashed at Itachi, missing his midsection in the process. Itachi then struck back, scoring a hit on Yugo's breastplate that split it open and caused a wound. After briefly hitting the ground, Yugo leapt away to get some distance. She was staring at Itachi while clutching her wound to try to stop the bleeding. With a heavy breath, Yugo thought, I don't stand a chance. I've been giving it my all, but he's just playing with me. He hasn't even used a single jutsu throughout the fight, she thought to herself. Itachi, bored, yelled, "Give up, Yugo. You have no chance of beating me." Yugo gritted her teeth in response. Stabbing her sword into the ground, Yugo made the hand gesture, Shadow Clone Jutsu, creating 2 shadow clones, and she grabbed her sword again, thinking, "I will not bow." Not to the likes of him, her mind concluded. Yugo and her 2 clones charged towards Itachi simultaneously. Her left clone leapt to deliver a downward slash, her right clone swooped low to deliver a rising slash, and Yugo leapt in for a frontal piercing. Seeing this through his Sharingan, Itachi assumed his stance and readied himself for the impending attack. Itachi moved as Yugo and her clones attacked simultaneously. Itachi swung clockwise and slashed out at Yugo's right clone. Seeing the blade, Yugo ducked under it as it passed overhead, cutting her clone on the left. As it got closer to Itachi's breastplate, Yugo sent her stab to his chest. Yugo was shocked when Itachi, with his sword, stabbed her through the chest, piercing her heart and causing her to cough up blood. Itachi had reached out with his left hand, grabbed the woman, and stopped it just an inch from his heart. Itachi pulled out his sword and let Yugo fall to the ground. Using an Anbu technique that I created, Itachi said to Yugo, who was coughing up blood. "A bad choice," Itachi added. Then, in a coup de grace, Itachi pierced Yugo through her temple, killing her, and then he released the blade. Gazing at the cut on his hand, Itachi removed a bandage, thinking, "She cut me," as he looked to the dead Anbu at his feet. Itachi thought, she made more progress than most. Shizune was stunned to see Yugo fall, but she had to push the thought from her mind when Asuka charged in her direction. Shizune leapt over the connected blades and kicked Asuka, striking her in the face and sending her skidding across the ground. Asuka reconnected her swords and swung the connected blades at Shizune's feet. Asuka leapt back up, dropping one of her swords and hurling multiple kunai at Shizune, who used her own kunai to smash the blades out of the air. A tag on one of the kunai exploded, causing Shizune to jump away as her clothes started to smoke from the fire. Shizune heard sizzling and looked down to see what was wrong. Asuka used her swords to knock Shizune's shuriken out of the air after she had landed and pulled out some. Before stopping on the final hand sign, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu, Asuka started going through the signs. She then hurled the fireball in Shizune's direction, who looked surprised and started going through the signs herself. Water Style, Water Bullets, Shizune fired a barrage of water bullets at the approaching fireball, putting it out and producing a cloud of steam in the process. Asuka charged towards Shizune, using the steam cloud as cover. She swung her sword at Shizune, but Shizune blocked it with her kunai. Shizune pulled back to give Asuka some distance, but Asuka persisted in her attack and used her other sword to sever Shizune's hand holding the kunai. She did this by quickly using her sword to hook Shizune's arm away. Shizune fell to the ground clutching her neck with her remaining hand as Asuka looked directly at her. Asuma made one last move, swinging her sword and severing Shizune's throat with its edge. For several minutes, Shizune struggled until she became rigid and Asuka cast a disdainful glance at her. Asuka wiped the blood from her blade and apologized, saying it was nothing personal. Itachi approached, bandaging his hand, then turned to face Asuka. Asuka nodded and Itachi said, "Let's head back to Konoha. Gather up the bodies. Lord Danzo will want proof of the kills," Itachi continued. Asuka said, "Yes, Itachi-sensei," pulling out a scroll to set next to Shizune. In close proximity to the Suna border, Tsunade, Sakura, and Kurenai. Tsunade, Sakura, and Kurenai were sprinting toward the Suna border, getting closer as the terrain grew drier and the number of trees decreased. Tsunade thought they were almost there when she heard some noises behind them. Glancing behind the group, she saw a Fuma shuriken approaching them. "Get down," Tsunade yelled to Sakura and Kurenai. The Fuma shuriken flew overhead, causing both women to duck to the ground. Tsunade reached out, grabbed the shuriken, and threw it back with all her might. About 100 root Anbu were racing toward the group from behind. The root Anbu were all scattered, but the Fuma shuriken was able to cut through 2 of the Anbu before vanishing into the distance. As the Anbu approached Sakura and Kurenai, they stood back up and assumed their stances. "Come get some," Sakura yelled, clenching her fists. "I'll take you all on." Tsunade nodded as Kurenai pulled out a kunai and gestured with her left hand, saying, "I'll hit them with genjutsu. You two take them on." Tsunade said, "Okay girls," cracking her knuckles. "Let's make this quick," she said, preparing to fight. Something called, "Granny get down," came from somewhere. Sakura and Kurenai turned around, wide-eyed, and Tsunade grinned, grabbing both of them. Tsunade pulled both women down and covered them, saying, "You heard him." As they both unlocked their fans, Naruto said to Temari, "You ready?" As they both raised their fans again, Temari exclaimed, "Let's do this." They simultaneously swung their fans forward to perform a joint wind jutsu. "Wind Combine Decapitation" was the cry they both let out as a huge wall of wind blades roasted toward the numerous root Anbu that were unprepared. When the wind jutsu struck trees and boulders, shattering bones and rupturing organs, none of the Anbu had time or space to escape. When the winds subsided, Tsunade looked up to see Naruto, Temari, and roughly 10 Suna ninja waiting in front of her. Looking behind her, she saw a vast area of destruction since the attack had left the root Anbu either dead or severely injured. When Tsunade stood back up, Naruto and Temari attacked, telling the Suna ninja to finish off any survivors. Temari asked, "Lady Tsunade, are you okay?" And Tsunade nodded while helping Sakura and Kurenai up. Tsunade sighed and said, "Yes, we're fine. We were in trouble." She was relieved to see Naruto and you were here. Tsunade started, "I just hope the other teams. Konoha has fallen and we are scattered," but she was cut off. Tsunade also widened her eyes in surprise upon realizing she had mispronounced a word. "Did you just say Naruto?" Sakura asked. Sakura looked at Menma, who winced under her intense stare. "I guess the jig is up," Naruto sighed in defeat after swallowing, pulling back his hood to reveal his blonde, spiky hair and lowering his face covering to reveal his face. Sakura staggered back, stunned by what she was seeing, and Kurenai's mouth fell open. Incredibly, Kurenai exclaimed. Sakura said, "N." Naruto, and Naruto gave her a meek smile. Naruto whispered, "Hey Sakura, it's been a while." Kiri. The Tower of Mizukage, containing Gaara, Kurumi, Kankuro, Mei, Konan, and Katsu. Mei, Konan, and Katsu met with Gaara, Kankuro, and Kurumi to talk about grievances and alliance related matters. The conversations were going well so far. As of a month ago, Kiri's shinobi have been issued the chakra armor from Spring Country, Mei told Katsu, who replied, "So far the response has been good. The rise of chest injuries has increased significantly." Kurumi asked, "How is that a good thing?" And Katsu gave her a smug look. Kurumi flushed in shame as Katsu remarked, "It means attacks to the chest are killing less people." Kurumi said, "Oh. Right," and Konan laughed. Konan pondered, "Speaking of which, when will Aim and Suna receive their armor?" It brought to mind Yahiko. "Soon," Katsu replied, "we have to make alterations due to differing climates." Sunas have to take into account the blistering heat while Aim has to deal with the rain which could cause rust. Similar to how Kiri's is modified to manage the moisture to avert mold and corrosion, Katsu remarked, and Gaara gave a nod. I much look forward to receiving the armor. Gaara stated, if it will give Suna an edge against our enemies it will be worth the price. Kankuro asked, how are we doing on logistics? Will we have? As he started to speak, the room's doors slammed open and an Anbu burst through. Lady May. It's an emergency, the Anbu stated as they approached May. A coup has erupted in Konoha. The 5th Hokage has been deposed and all loyal to her are fleeing to Suna. May got up as everyone in the room became very surprised. Go find Ao and tell him to get everyone, May instructed. I want every Anbu, Jonin and Shunin not wounded in full battle gear in the next 2 hours. And get a 10-man Anbu team for Lord Gaara, Katsu and Konan to escort them back to their home counties. Yes, ma'am, the Anbu said before bolting from the room. Everyone stood up and made their way out of there quickly. I'll get my shinobi ready. Good luck, May hurried off. Katsu turned away and left the tower after saying, I need to inform Lady Koyuki, and then he ran up to hug Gaara, Kurumi, and Kankuro while telling them to stay safe. Konan walked away, leaving Gaara and his group by themselves. I'll inform Nagato, Konan said to Gaara before sighing, this unfortunately will be our 3rd war. I hope Naruto is handling the situation. Gaara stated, we need to get back ASAP. Suna Desert. With the teams of Sume, Ebisu, and Kakashi. Being led to Suna, Kakashi was carrying an unconscious Hinata over his shoulder. However, as he crossed the border, a group of Suna shinobi, one of whom he recognized, stopped him. To lighten the mood, Tobi was leading the group while humming a simple song. Kakashi and his group, which included himself, Hinata, Guy, Lee, Anko, Sume, Hana, Konohamaru, Moegi, Udon, and Ebisu, encountered both Sume's and Ebisu's teams as they started their march to Suna. In his Tobi voice, Obito comforted Kakashi, saying, don't worry, we'll get you help. Our Kazekage would love to be of assistance. Not feeling very positive, Kakashi nodded and said, I hope so. Kakashi then said, Sakura, please be safe. After several hours of walking, the group finally saw the walls of Suna, to the relief of all. Okie dokie everyone, just give me a minute with the guards and I'll get you in, declared Obito, approaching the gate guards. Anko questioned, Kakashi, are you okay? Kakashi shook his head. With a weary expression, Kakashi remarked, Sensei is probably spinning in his grave right now. The village he loved and died to protect has fallen. Not to mention that it ruined his legacy and killed his son, Kakashi thought. 30 minutes later, at Kazekage Tower. While everyone was wondering why they were in the Kazekage Tower, Obito guided Kakashi and his group through it. Hinata, who was now awake, was massaging her temples because she was experiencing a headache. Speaking up, Hinata said, Mr. Tobi. Yes, sweetie, Obito replied. You said that the Kazekage was outside the village and his temporary replacement is running the village, Hinata said as Tobi nodded. Who is he? You never said his name. Everyone was skeptical when Tobi laughed loudly and said, you'll see soon enough, sweetie. However, as they turned the corner, Sakura and Kurenai were visible to everyone standing outside a room. Sakura, exclaimed Kakashi as he hurriedly stepped forward. Sakura sprinted to embrace him, saying, that god you made it. Sakura remarked in a daze, you won't believe who's here, but Kakashi stopped when he saw the expression on her face. Grabbing Kakashi's hand, Sakura pulled him into the room, dragging everyone else along with him. Sakura, what are you? Kakashi started, then stopped, as did everyone else, stunned by what they saw. Tsunade and Temari were standing beside someone they hadn't seen in almost 3 years. Naruto was leaning against a desk, his face wearing a regretful and happy smile. Naruto said, Hey Kakashi-sensei, it's been a while. He smiled a little. Naruto, exclaimed Kakashi, stunned. Konohamaru called him, boss, as tears started to well up in his eyes. When Hinata realized her lifelong crush was still alive, she passed out, but Kurenai caught her before she could fall to the ground. With a hint of surprise, Naruto remarked, wow, Hinata still faints. I thought she'd grow out of that. Kakashi staggered forward and moved until he was in front of Naruto. Kakashi-sensei, a bewildered Naruto exclaimed as Kakashi grabbed him and started to feel him. In an attempt to break up any genjutsu in the vicinity, Kakashi stepped back and made the hand sign, Kai. He then flared his chakra and said, This is real, to which Naruto nodded. That's right, Naruto replied, but that's not all, Tobi-sensei. Naruto nodded at Tobi, who reached up to take his mask. Anko, Ebisu, Guy, Sume, Obito, Kurenai, and Kakashi were all shocked to see Obito's scarred face when he took off his mask. With wide eyes, Anko said, No damn way. With a smile on his face, Obito turned to face Kakashi and said, Hey Kakashi, nice to see you again. Kakashi then started to approach him with big eyes. Obito grinned when Kakashi said, Obito. Kakashi then said, Obito, in a more agitated tone, and started to run in his direction. Confused, Obito said, Kakashi. Kakashi then tackled him, put his hands around his neck, and started to strangle him. Kakashi tightened his grip and yelled, You've been alive all this time. I mourned for you, Sensei mourned for you, I'll fucking kill you. I apologize, said Obito as he was being strangled. Sakura, Guy, and Kakashi all rushed to seize Kakashi and started removing him. Sakura held up his right arm and said, Kakashi, calm the hell down. Kakashi, I understand your anger, but please learn to control yourself, Guy said, restraining Kakashi with his left arm. After calming down, Kakashi said, Okay, Naruto and you both have a very good reason for being alive right now. Taking in everyone's expectant looks, Naruto swallowed and nodded. It all started after the mission to bring Sasuke back, he remarked, while I was in the hospital. Time lag. After 2 hours. Naruto concluded his lengthy tale by saying, and I've been in charge since Gaara left to Kiri. Although he should be back in a few days. Hopefully. Naruto's story of how he killed Ino and Haruto Shinobi when they attacked a village and abducted the children, how he met Obito in the land of tea, and how he's been living under the radar up until now left everyone in the room in complete shock. Sakura asked Tsunade, who was looking downcast and disappointed, Lady Tsunade. How long have you known about this? I found out about a month after he died, Tsunade stated in air quotes, and that was only because Naruto screwed up on that mission and Jiraiya found him first. How could you not tell me? Sakura yelled, I'm your student, I'm one of the few who actually defended Naruto. How could you do this to me? As Tsunade heard the hint of betrayal in Sakura's voice, she opened her mouth to respond, but Naruto spoke before her. I requested her to do so, Naruto remarked, causing Sakura to turn to face him. What could that have done? If someone else found out, I would have another target on my back, and the same goes for Suna. I just wanted to live here in peace. Hell, I've been here for only 3 years and I'm treated her way better than I was in Konoha, Naruto said before turning to Anko. You get what I'm talking about, right Anko-sensei? Naruto nodded as Anko nodded her head and said, Yeah. I understand. Anko continued, Konoha treated me like shit because of Orochimaru. If I could have started over, I would. See. Exactly, Naruto replied. Here I haven't had rocks thrown at me, or my house vandalized, or beaten on my birthday, or blamed for killing a traitor leaving the village. Suna is more my home than Konoha ever was, Naruto said with his arms raised, and I'll be glad to see all those assholes in Konoha pay when Suna and the others are done with it. Kurenai spoke up and said, Wait, what do you mean? Aren't you going to fight? Naruto has sacrificed enough, Temari stated. He saved 2 villages, 2 countries and lived a lifetime of crap that took me and my siblings years to reverse. Temari declared, Naruto has earned the right to skip this one. Konohamaru questioned, what about becoming Hokage? That was your dream, right, boss? Sakura, Kakashi, Hinata, and Konohamaru all lost their hearts in one fell swoop of Naruto's. I think my dream died when I did, as he turned to face Konohamaru. Naruto grinned at everyone and remarked, but I'm happy now. And I'll help however I can. I think it'll be best if we find a place for everyone to stay, Naruto replied with a nod. I'll take Kakashi, Sakura, Kurenai and Anko. I'm sure my wife will love to have you all. Kakashi said, thanks, Obito, but I'm still mad at you. With his head bowed, Obito replied, yeah. I know. Naruto grinned and said, Granny Tsunade, Konohamaru, Udon, and Moegi can stay with me. Tsunade grinned back and nodded. Tsunade expressed her gratitude by saying, "Thank you, Naruto. I can arrange for the rest of you to sleep in the Suna barracks." Temari stated, "It's not a 5-star hotel but it has beds, hot water and a toilet." Sume cracked her neck and remarked, "That sounds good. I could use a good nap after today." As he started to lead everyone out of the room, Naruto said, "Great. Let go and get you all settled." Sume and Anko both gave him a sly smile as soon as they entered the hallway. Anko licked her lips and thought, Blondie grew up to be quite the hottie. He's younger than me, but that's not a problem. Sume thought, biting her lip. Pop grew up into a real piece of man candy. He's as old as my son, though, but age isn't an issue to me. Anko hurried up and grabbed his arm, saying, "Su Naruto. You know any good drinking spots around here? If so, maybe you could take me to one and we can talk." As she leaned in close to him, making him blush, she said. Naruto started, but then felt someone grab his other arm. Turning around, he saw Sume there grinning demonically. Sume smirked and said, "Sorry, Anko, but I'm going to need Naruto here to show me to my bed." She then leaned in and whispered, "And maybe help me break it in." Because Anko and Sume were both attempting to entice him, Naruto turned beet red. Suddenly, though, a wave of hate materialized behind them, and everything stopped. Turning around, Naruto, Sume, and Anko saw an enraged Temari rush forward, grab Naruto, and wrap her arms around him, saying, "Back off, horse. He's my man." Anko and Sume growled at this. Temari said, "Come on baby, let's leave these old desperate ladies to think about what they did," and Naruto nodded. As he and Temari left with Tsunade, Konohamaru, Udon, and Moegi following them, Naruto trembled and said, "S. Sure babe, I'm really glad she's not mad at me." Anko started, "Damn girl. Who's she?" But Kurenai grabbed her by the ear and started yanking her away. Kurenai pulled Anko aside and scolded, "You need to think about your priorities. We just lost our home and were reunited with 2 of our presumed dead comrades, and all you can think about is sleeping with one of them." Sume chuckled as Anko whimpered, "Ow, ow, okay, I'll do better." Hana cried, "Mom, gross. He's younger than me. That's so wrong." Sume laughed this off. Sume begged her daughter to stop being such a prude, ignoring her disdain. Sakura thought, "Oh come on, age differences are not that big of a deal. I love my Kashi for who he is, and that's that." "I'm glad Sakura and I are different in age," Kakashi thought to himself. "She'll still be pretty when I'm old and wrinkled, or at least decent looking." Later that evening, on the patio of Naruto and Temari's home, with Temari, Tsunade, and Moegi. Tsunade, Temari, and Moegi were seated outside at the patio table, while Naruto, Konohamaru, and Udon were inside watching a movie on the television. So Temari, Moegi said to get her attention. "Tell us about Naruto as a boyfriend, please," she asked. Temari grinned. "He's a mixed bag of many things," said Temari. "He's sweet, brave, strong, handsome. But also dumb, gross, childish and naive." Temari remarked, "It all comes together to make him perfect in my eyes," to which Tsunade laughed. Temari blushed and said, "Is it bad? What was the most embarrassing thing he's done to you, really?" Tsunade questioned. "On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 5, Temari responded. "You see, about 2 years ago." Flashback. Kazekage Manor, 2 years ago. Naruto set a bowl of ramen in front of her and said, "Here you go, babe. A special one. Of a kind ramen bowl one made specifically for you. Happy anniversary." Glancing down into the bowl of ramen, Temari saw that it contained whole grain noodles, ground pork, 2 eggs, 6 shrimp, as well as other vegetables like carrots and corn, all simmered in a creamy pork broth. Naruto grinned as Temari exclaimed, "Oh my god, this looks so good." Temari was obviously impressed. "How long did it take you to make it?" Temari inquired. Temari eagerly took up some chopsticks as Naruto poured her some sake and said, 4 hours. "Please don't mind if I do," Temari said as she started to eat. After about 20 minutes, Temari sighed as she finished the meal, saying, "That was good. I especially liked that ground pork you put in there." Naruto appeared perplexed. Temari looked at Naruto with wide eyes and said, "Huh, that wasn't pork, that was squid that I diced up and sautéed." Naruto then asked, "What's wrong?" As Temari turned pale. Temari's stomach started to growl and she felt her stomach drop as she turned to face Naruto. "I have a squid allergy," Temari said, crossing her legs. Temari exclaimed, "Oh God," as she got up and ran to the bathroom. Naruto followed her, telling her to, "Don't follow me, you idiot." Temari entered the bathroom and shut the door. "Temari, wait, what's going on?" Naruto started, but then he heard horrifying noises coming from inside and he leapt away, thinking, "Oh man, this isn't good." After using the restroom for 20 minutes, Temari emerged holding her stomach and moving slowly. She appeared weak and had significantly lost her skin tone. As Naruto approached, he said, "Temari, you're out." "I was so, holy hell, it smells like you slaughtered a cow in there." Temari gave Naruto an annoyed look as he covered his nose. Temari said as she made her way to the kitchen, "This is why I don't eat squid or octopus. I need some water." Flashback concludes. "And that's the tale of how my partner gave me diarrhea on our first anniversary," Temari uttered, drawing disgusting looks from Moegi and Tsunade. Tsunade exclaimed, "Oh my god." Temari nodded as Moegi described her as nasty. Temari laughed and said, "Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but still, he didn't know, I don't blame him. Besides, he got me ginger ale and rubbed my stomach all night until I felt better," Temari said with a grin. "Even when he's a complete dumbass, he's still the sweetest man I could have ever gotten." As they carried on with their girl talk, Tsunade and Moegi grinned at this. Naruto, on the other hand, was listening from around the corner and grinned as well. As he stealthily entered, Naruto thought to himself, "And even though you're the scariest woman in the world, you are still the most loving woman I could have hoped for." At Obito's house, Sango and Obito. While Sango walked around the room, Obito was in bed getting ready to go to sleep. "Hey, thanks for letting Kakashi and the others stay here," Obito said. "I know it's sudden but..." Sango picked up some blankets and said, "But nothing, you're helping out a friend, that's all that matters." Obito asked, "Where are you going?" And Sango grinned. As she left, Sango said, "Just giving the other some extra blankets." When she entered the living room, she discovered Kurenai and Enko dozing off on the fold out couch. Sango covered the two women with a blanket before heading to the guest room where Kakashi was sleeping and then to Kurumi's room to give Sakura one. Just as Sango was about to speak, he slightly opened the door and noticed Sakura and Kakashi naked beneath the covers, with Kakashi on top. Sakura was moaning softly and Kakashi was moving his hips beneath the covers slowly as they kissed. Sakura whispered, "Oh Kakashi," and put her arms around his neck, saying, "I love you." "I love you too," Kakashi responded, pressing his face into her neck and causing her to gasp. Sango then quietly shut the door and placed the blankets on the floor beside it before she started returning to her room. As Sango turned to leave, she thought, "I guess it's a good thing they're not doing it in Kurumi's bed." Lee at Suna Barracks. Lee went for a nighttime stroll to help him decompress after Neji, his former friend and rival, abandoned him. Guy-sensei asked Neji, "What's going through your head?" Lee noticed a figure sitting on a rock with their head in their knees as he rounded the corner of the barracks. As he got closer, he recognized the person and exclaimed, "Hinata? Is that you?" With tears streaming down her cheeks, Hinata's head snapped up and she turned to face Lee. "Lee, what are you doing up?" Hinata asked, wiping away her tears, and Lee moved over to take a seat next to her. Lee looked at her and said, "I was taking a walk to clear my head." "What are you doing out here so late?" I'm worried about Hanabi," replied Hinata. "Kakashi-sensei told me that she stayed to fight Neji. She's strong but not strong enough to beat him even if I help her." I'm just holding out hope that she escaped and is trying to make her way here," said Hinata. With a beaming smile, Lee encircled Hinata with his arm, giving her a firm hug that startled her. He then released the hug and said, "Don't worry, Hinata. We'll find Hanabi and bring her here." Lee added, "And if not, I'll go to Konoha myself and get her," to which Hinata grinned. "Thank you, Lee. I appreciate your enthusiasm," Hinata replied. Lee. Can you stay out here with me for a little while?" Looked up at the stars with Hinata, Lee nodded and said, "Sure thing, Hinata." It would be my pleasure. At Naruto and Temari's house the following morning, with Naruto and Temari. Lying in bed, Naruto observed Temari dozing off. The sandy brown hair of Temari covered her face with a wild, disheveled snore. When Naruto rolled over and lifted the covers, he saw that Temari was only wearing her panties and a tank top. When Temari opened her eyes and saw Naruto grinning foolishly, she giggled. Naruto then moved his hand over and started to rub her behind. Temari said, "My regular wake up call," and Naruto nodded. Before giving her an ass squeeze, Naruto remarked, "You know it. I swear your ass gets softer and softer every time I grab it." As she got out of bed, Temari rolled her eyes and smacked Naruto's hand away, telling him to keep it in your pants, buddy. "I swear you're..." A loud knocking at the door startled Temari, so Naruto leapt from bed and took hold of his gauntlet. Running towards the front door in only his pajamas, Naruto exclaimed, "What the hell is that?" Tsunade's door opened to reveal her wearing one of Naruto's T-shirts and his gym shorts. Tsunade questioned, "Naruto, what's going on?" as she hurried to the front door beside him. As soon as he got to the door, Naruto said, "I don't know." He then flung it open to see Kurumi standing there and exclaimed, "Oh, thank God, Kurumi. You made it back safe." Naruto started, "I was hoping you'd make it back soon but stopped when he saw the horrified expression on her face and asked, "What wrong?" Tsunade and Temari, who were standing behind Naruto, felt a wave of dread as they noticed the expressions on Kurumi's face. Tsunade worriedly asked, "Kurumi, what is it?" And Kurumi glanced at each of them. Kurumi said, "Get dressed. I'll show you," her eyes distant. With Naruto, Temari, Tsunade, and Kurumi outside of Suna. As Temari, Tsunade, and Naruto followed Kurumi out the front gate, they were perplexed as to what was happening. Naruto called out to them, and Naruto spun around. Naruto saw Kakashi sprinting up, Gaara and Kankuro leading Sakura, Kurenai, Anko, Hinata, and Lee. As Kakashi and his group joined Naruto, he said, "Kakashi-sensei," asking what was going on. "Just come with us, Naruto," Gaara said in a monotone voice that was tinged with more melancholy, causing Naruto to recoil. Naruto and the other then started to follow Gaara outside of Suna. After roughly 15 minutes of walking, they came upon 11 figures perched atop a hill. As he prepared for battle, Naruto exclaimed, "What the hell?" When one of the figures advanced, he recognized Jiraiya and exclaimed, "Ha, pervy sage. What's going on?" Jiraiya was keeping everyone's attention on the 10 other figures on the hill, so he didn't see anything. Jiraiya merely said, "I'm sorry, kid." Naruto and the others hurried forward until they came to a stop a short distance away, and their reactions to what they saw were all over the place. There were 10 heads attached to pikes, but there were none. When Hinata saw that her sister Hanabi's eye sockets were empty, she fell to the ground and started to cry out in pain. Lee then ran up and caught Hinata by the waist. As he held the sobbing Hyuga to his chest and tears started to stream down his cheeks, Lee pleaded, "Don't look, Hinata. Please." Anko clenched her fists so tightly that blood started to spill onto the sandy ground, cursing, "Motherfucking motherfuckers," as she saw the heads of her 2 longtime friends, Yugo and Ibiki. When Kurenai saw her fiancé Asuma's head, she puked onto the ground. She wiped her mouth, turned her head away, and started to cry for her departed lover. Tsunade was stunned as she fixed her gaze on Shizune's head. Jiraiya approached, put his arm around Tsunade's shoulder, and remained silent. Jiraiya could say nothing that would be of assistance to her. Sakura was crying into Kakashi's chest, covering her eyes with her tears after seeing what she had just seen. In contrast, Kakashi's one visible eye was filled with hate and rage. Mebuki and Kazashi Haruno's heads were perched on 2 pikes. Kakashi clenched his mask over his weeping lover. They'll cover this expense, Kakashi considered. Gazing upon the last 3 heads, Iruka Amino, Tuchi, and Ayame Ichiraku, Naruto collapsed to his knees. As Temari approached from behind and put her arms around Naruto, the 3 people he had unconditionally loved were now dead and disfigured in front of him. Naruto started to cry softly. Temari tried to console Naruto by saying, "Naruto, I'm so sorry." Jiraiya spoke up to get Naruto's attention and said, "Well kid, it looks like the war found you. You tried to stay out of it. Naruto nodded. Naruto grunted, seems so, before his eyes grew red and slitted. I'll fucking kill them all, he uttered. Concurrently, at Hokage Mountain in Konoha, Danzo grinned as he surveyed the village he now ruled over, thinking, Konoha has its rightful Hokage at last, after all these years. At that moment, there was a loud thud and a rapid landing of 2 feet. Danzo turned around and said, Orochimaru, it's been a while. His expression was one of boredom. It has Lord Danzo. Or should I say Lord Hokage, grinned Orochimaru as he stood there. Danzo then turned to face Shino Aburame, who was covered in blood and severely beaten. Shino yelled, don't call him that, and Orochimaru kicked him in the face, knocking him unconscious. Silent boy, the adults are conversing, Orochimaru remarked, glancing at Danzo. I discovered him close to the boundary of the rice field. It appears that the borders with Suna and the river country are excessively secured, he said. Danzo said, what do you want, Orochimaru? And Orochimaru grinned. A coalition, Orochimaru says, raising an eyebrow in Danzo's direction. Suna has something I really want. I'll help you if you promise to give it to me. Danzo nodded while glancing at Orochimaru. Very well. But if I sense any disloyalty, I'll kill you without a second thought, Danzo replied. It's nice to have you back, Orochimaru. Danzo laughed as he turned around and grinned, thinking, with Konoha, Taki, and Otto at my disposal. Nothing can stop me now. 3 days following the incident at Suna Cemetery, Naruto. With the dirt still freshly turned, Naruto stood in the Suna Cemetery and stared down at 3 graves: Iruka, Tsuchi, and Ayame. The graves stared back at Naruto with a deafening silence that rang in his ears. Even though all he was burying was their heads, Naruto felt it was his personal duty to dig the graves himself using his shadow clones. He had a dejected expression on his face, and the sound of footsteps behind him was the only thing that lifted it. Naruto spun around to see Temari approaching with a serious expression on her face. Temari noticed the dried tears on Naruto's face and felt her heart swell. Temari was aware that nothing she said would be of assistance to him. You know Temari, Naruto said with a raspy voice. I met old man Tsuchi and Ayame when I was 6. They were the first people other than the Hokage who actually treated me well. As Temari approached him and grasped his hand, he said, really? Naruto nodded and met her gaze. I hadn't eaten in 3 days at that point and it was raining super hard, said Naruto. I saw the old man wave at me but I began to run away. Why wouldn't I? I thought he was telling me to leave. As I began to run away he called for me to come back and come in for a bite, Naruto recalled. I had no money but he said, no problem my boy, and gave me a free bowl of ramen. Temari grinned and said, that was sweet of him, and Naruto grinned too. He told me I could come in for a free bowl every day, Naruto stated. Ayame also used to teach me how to read or write since I was illiterate. Naruto remarked, Iruka-sensei, though, well, he was different. How so? Inquired Temari. Iruka didn't like me at first. No surprise, I was always the troublemaker of the class, Naruto stated, but over time he began to like me. He no longer saw me as his trouble child but as a little brother who needed guidance. He even gave me this. It was his but he gave it to me when I graduated. After stealing the secret scroll from the Hokage office, sheepishly remarked Naruto, reaching into his pocket to retrieve his old Konoha headband. Temari giggled. Now they're gone, Naruto said, depressing everyone, and I never got to say goodbye. Temari reached out and took Naruto, cradling him to her breast as he started to cry. Let it all out, Naruto, it's okay, Temari reassured her boyfriend, who was crying. Behind a pole, hidden from their view, Kakashi thought to himself, you're lucky, Naruto. When I lost my sensei and Kushina, I had no one to cry on, but you do, Kakashi mused. I guess he doesn't need me here after all, thought Kakashi as he turned around and left the cemetery. I'm good, Naruto breathed out and stopped crying. Temari then wiped his tears. Temari remarked, we have to go, Naruto. Gaara has called us. We have a mission. Naruto nodded and cleared his throat. As he and Temari started to hop from rooftop to rooftop in the direction of the Kazekage tower, Naruto said, let's go. Team Obito, Gaara, Temari, Kankuro, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Kakashi, and Sakura are present in the Kazekage tower. Gazing at Gaara, who sat behind his desk with Tsunade and Jiraiya by his side, were Naruto, Temari, Sakura, Kakashi, Kurumi, Karen, and Obito. I have called you here for an important mission, Gaara stated to the 7 individuals in front of them. As you know, as of 3 days ago Konoha was overthrown by Danzo. But what you don't know is that there have been other developments. Konoha and its ally Taki have attacked us from the east, capturing several important outposts. Taki has allied with Konoha due to a treaty signed by the first Hokage and the then leader of Taki, Gaara said, moving toward a map that had pins placed at various points. The others nodded, but she added, but another ally has joined as well. Otto. Sakura said, Otto. Orochimaru is on this too, and Gaara nodded. Damn snake bastard. Why can't he just crawl into a hole and die, said Naruto. He joined for unknown reasons. Even so, he has become another thorn in our side, Jiraiya stated, which is why I'm going to go into enemy territory and find out more info. At this, Naruto's eyes widened. Worried, Naruto asked, what, who are you going with? Please don't tell me you are going alone, but Jiraiya grinned. I won't be alone, Jiraiya replied. Ebisu and Anko will be with me. They are 2 of the best recon ninja we have. With a sigh of relief, Naruto nodded. While he's doing that, I have a mission for you all, Gaara stated. Konoha, like I said, took several outposts, including one that's along a heavily traveled supply route. I'll venture to guess that you want us to go find it, Obito inquired, and Gaara gave a nod. Yes, we estimate the enemy's strength to be 50 strong. The majority will be from Konoha, but the rest are auxiliaries from Otto and Taki, Gaara stated. Obito will be in charge with Temari acting as the guide, Gaara stated. Very well, replied Obito. How you like that, Kakashi? You may have ruled the roost when we were genin, but I'm in charge now. Smugly, Obito asked, what do you say about that? Kakashi, on the other hand, was looking over to Obito from his book. I apologize, Obito. Did you say something? Kakashi said, infuriating Obito. You prick, yelled Obito. Kurumi thought, embarrassed at her father, geez pa. Act mature. Sakura rubbed her temples and thought, Kakashi, please, can you not do that anymore as your girlfriend? Obito declared, screw it, and get ready to leave in 2 hours. After 2 hours, Naruto, Temari, Obito, Kurumi, and Kakashi are at Suna gates. I wonder what's keeping her, Naruto remarked to the others as they stood waiting for Karen at the gate. Oh wait, there she is, Naruto replied. With her backpack on, Karen dashed across the street and stopped. Karen rubbed the back of her head and apologized, saying, oh man, that was close. She also couldn't find her extra pair of glasses. Flashback. Karen's apartment 30 minutes ago, with a hint of lemon. Kankuro shoved Karen against the wall and gave her a hard lip kiss, holding on for a few seconds before pulling away. I want to do this real quick because I might die, Karen remarked as she started to undo Kankuro's pants. Let's make it worthwhile, Kankuro said, turning Karen around and lowering her shorts. It's a good idea. Karen bit her lip as she felt Kankuro start to enter her, gasping when he was fully in. Karen started to scream as Kankuro started to fuck her from behind, slowly but roughly. Karen's neck was kissed by Kankuro, who leaned in and said, oh damn, you're so tight. Flashback concludes. Temari was observing Karen closely as she was rubbing her back of her head sheepishly. Her hair is a little messy, her belt is a little too loose, and she has that glow, Temari thought to herself before realizing, Karen, you red-haired minx. Temari grinned and said, no problem, you guys ready to go? We are, replied Obito. Naruto adjusted his fan and remarked, you bet babe. Temari said, okay, let's go, as they all sprinted eastward out of the village. One day later, Naruto, Temari, Obito, and Kakashi near the border between Suna and Konoha. On a hillside overlooking a small outpost with 3 buildings, a guard tower, and a stone wall enclosing the perimeter, lay Naruto, Temari, Kakashi, and Obito. Temari was attempting to gauge the enemy's size through her binoculars. Temari turned to face Naruto and asked, what do you see down there? About 40 guards. Most are rude, but I see some tacky ninja as well, less than we expected. Temari responded, what do you think we should do? I say we have you and Naruto hit them from all sides with wind jutsu. Obito responded, after they get shook, me and Kurumi will take the west, Kakashi and Sakura take the south, Naruto and Temari take the north, and Karen stays in reserve and guards the east. Wow, Obito. I guess you finally developed some intelligence after all these years, Kakashi remarked, earning a tick mark from Obito. Scarecrow, shut up, Obito said. Temari said, okay, let's get into position, as they all crept back. After a short while, Naruto produced 10 shadow clones, 3 of which divided into teams of 3, and the remaining one joined Temari and him on the north side of the outpost. Temari said, ready Naruto, and Naruto followed suit as she opened her fan. It's true, Naruto exclaimed, bringing back both Temari and his fanbase. Wind style. Wind combine decapitation, was the cry that sounded, and in response, Temari, Naruto, and his clones all simultaneously swung their fans, forming 4 walls of wind that raced toward the outpost, surprising the soldiers. After a few seconds, the dust settled and Temari got up to grab a flare launcher as the wind jutsus struck the outpost like an unrelenting tornado, sending men and debris flying everywhere. Temari signaled the start of the attack with a single green flare, and she and Naruto descended quickly to confront the adversary. Sakura and Kakashi together. Let's go, Kakashi said, and Sakura nodded as the clones in front of them poofed themselves out of existence and a flare shot up. All right, Sakura uttered as she and Kakashi dashed in the direction of the outpost. Upon realizing that the wall was still standing, Sakura balled her fist and gave a loud cry, "Sha!" before striking the wall with a punch. Sakura broke through the wall with her incredible strength, launching big stones into the compound. As he and Sakura approached the perimeter, Kakashi thought, that's so hot. He then turned to face his left and noticed 2 root ninja hidden beneath some debris. One of them yelled, enemy ninja. Kakashi pulled out 2 kunai and threw them, striking the 2 men in the foreheads and killing them. When Sakura turned to face the right, she noticed 3 root ninja running toward her. Sakura quickly moved in their direction as the first tried to stab her with a kunai. Sakura sidestepped and grabbed his arm, breaking it as the bone pierced his flesh. She then raised her other fist and struck him in the head, scattering his brain matter all over the floor. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu was unleashed by the second root ninja, who pulled out 4 shuriken. The 4 shuriken multiplied into 20 and advanced toward Sakura. When the shuriken struck the body rather than Sakura, she used the dead ninja she was holding as a shield. Sakura then threw the body aside and made her own hand signals. Earth style. Earth spikes saw Sakura pound her fist into the ground, causing earth spikes to fly out and toward the 2 ninja. The nearest ninja was skewered through the stomach, unable to avoid them. After dodging and drawing his sword, the second ninja charged at Sakura. But before he could get close, he heard the last ninja being attacked by Kakashi, who was shouting, "Reikiri," as he rushed him. The root ninja tried to defend himself by drawing his sword. With a thrust of his Reikiri, Kakashi penetrated the enemy ninja's chest and sliced through the sword. Don't worry, my love, I've got him covered, Sakura scowled and Kakashi grinned. Sakura was irritated and said, I could have gotten him, but Kakashi simply shrugged and said, let's just go. With Obito and Kurumi. As soon as Kurumi and Obito entered the outpost, Kurumi unsheathed her sword and used her Sharingan. She then turned to face the injured Taki ninja on the ground. She could tell he was not going to survive because of the piece of wood protruding from his chest. Kurumi quickly stabbed him through the heart to end his suffering, but not before she noticed another Taki ninja approaching her from behind with a kunai. The man screamed as Kurumi raised her sword and sliced off his arm. She then slashed open the man's chest, splattering her with blood. After witnessing his daughter eliminate 2 shinobi, Obito started looking for the enemy when he noticed about 10 ninja leaving the biggest building and starting to use hand signals. Fire style. Fireball Jutsu, Obito Puffy. Chested and fired a big ball of fire at the bulk of the ninja, setting most of them on fire while one managed to get away and draw his sword before charging at Obito. You're a dead man, he yelled. The opposing ninja moved closer and tried to slay Obito, but Obito used his kami power to deflect the blow, leaving the enemy ninja stunned. With a quick movement, Obito reached out and grabbed the enemy ninja's neck, breaking it in one twist and instantly killing him. Kurumi clenched her teeth as she glared at the 9 blazing enemy ninja. She sheathed her sword and then pulled out multiple shuriken to hurl at them. Kurumi hit all 9, putting an end to their suffering with amazing accuracy. "Let's go, Kurumi," Obito said, nodding to her father as she and the other girls started looking for anyone else. Alongside Temari and Naruto. Upon entering the outpost with Temari, Naruto raised his large fan and brandished his gauntlet blade. Upon spotting 2 root ninja approaching him, he prepared himself by saying, "Temari, stay back. I've got them." The 2 root ninjas brandished swords, and the first one swung at Naruto, who dodged the blow and then rose to confront the second, locking blades. Naruto then punched the opponent in the face after using his blade to take down his sword. When Naruto heard the other ninja approaching from behind to execute a stab, he grabbed and pulled the opponent he had just punched. After the first ninja accidentally stabbed his friend, Naruto struck for the kill, using his gauntlet to deliver a blow that struck the opponent in the brain and eye socket. When Temari heard a noise to her left while holding her fan, she turned and swung her fan, using the blunt side as a club. When Temari heard another enemy approach from behind her, she struck the tacky ninja who was trying to sneak up on her, breaking his skull in the process. Temari brought her ran down in an overhead chop, raising it up again. Just before it hit him, the root ninja saw this and caught the fan. His arms could hardly support the weight while he struggled to decide what to do. However, a shout interrupted him before he could act. The enemy was sent flying and spinning in the air until he struck the stone wall. Naruto yelled, "Rasengan," as he drove his Rasengan into the enemy's stomach. "I appreciate the help," Temari grinned. Temari laughed as Naruto said, "No problem," glancing at his hand. "I haven't used that technique in battle for years. It feels like putting on an old pair of shoes." Temari said, "Let's get moving," and Naruto nodded. The 2 of them ran to the outpost center and took in their surroundings. The entire area was in ruins, with buildings destroyed and bodies scattered everywhere. While some of the bodies appeared to have been slain by Naruto and Temari using their Winjutsu, others had shuriken and slash marks on them. "Hey guys, is that all?" Kurumi exclaimed as she and Obito ran up. Temari responded, "I think so. It's a little anti-climactic, but I guess we did more damage than we thought." Sakura and Kakashi ran over and yelled, "Hey Naruto, is it over? Did we win?" When he heard a shout, Naruto turned to look around and shrugged. "I guess." He started. A feminine voice said, Please." Everyone turned to see 2 female tacky ninja emerge from behind a pile of debris and say, "We surrender." The 2 tacky girls raised their hands, but Naruto and the others were not taking any chances and stood their ground. Kurumi yelled, "Naruto, cover me," and Naruto nodded. Kurumi then hurried over to secure the 2 zip-tie cuffs, saying, "Looks like we have some prisoners." As he pressed the button on his communication device, Obito said, "All right, a job well done. Karen, come in. It's over." Karen was all that was visible on the other side, so Obito worriedly inquired once more. "I assume you're discussing Red here," a woman's voice said, causing everyone to turn around and witness a girl dragging an unconscious Karen by her shirt. "She made every effort to stop me, but it was insufficient," the girl said. The female ninja caught Naruto's attention as he studied her closely. She had green hair and tan skin, and she was wearing a white tank top and skirt. A tacky headband was tied to her left arm. One of the tacky girls yelled, "Fu, you made it," with hope. Kurumi then struck her in the stomach. Kurumi hissed, shuddered, and Fu scowled. With a warning tone, Fu said, "Hey, you better let them go." Sakura said, "Or what?" Fu scowled and started to flare her chakra as sand started to fly. Fu said, "Or else you'll have to face the power of the 7 tails," and the realization made everyone pale. "No way," Sakura concluded. Something like Naruto and Gaara, Temari thought frantically, a Jinchuriki. Naruto looked at Fu and thought, she's just like me. "Hey, Fu, right?" Naruto asked, and she nodded. Naruto shocked all of his friends by saying, "Let's make a deal. We trade prisoners and then you and me fight." Temari protested, "Naruto." "No way," but Naruto ignored her. "I can handle this," Naruto remarked, "she has Karen, Temari." "Okay," Fu said, dropping Karen, "let's switch places." Naruto nodded, turning to walk left with his buddies toward Karen, while Fu approached her two friends. As soon as Fu arrived at her friend's side, she unsheathed their handcuffs with a kunai and muttered, "Asa, Mirika, go to the camp and get the others." "All right, stay safe, Fu," Asa muttered as she and Mirika took off. When Kurumi and Naruto arrived at Karen's location, Kurumi picked her up and said, "She's fine, just unconscious." Naruto nodded. Temari looked at Naruto with concern as he said, "Okay guys, get some distance. This is going to get wild." Naruto responded, "I'll be fine," and Temari nodded. Temari remarked, "You better come back," as she and the others started to leave Naruto and Fu by themselves. Fu remarked, "You have a very pretty girlfriend. Why are you staying? I would have just let you go." Naruto shrugged. "Figured taking you out would help out my side," said Naruto. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails." "I figured," Fu replied. "Danzo told our leader that if we run into you make sure we capture not kill." Fu said, "Taking a fighting stance, so I won't kill you. How about you?" With a smile, Naruto withdrew his gauntlet blade. As he defeated both of his little admirers, Naruto uttered, "I won't kill you either, but I will kick your ass." As they waited for their chance, Naruto and Fu looked down on one another. Just as the fight between the two Jinchuriki was about to start, a slight gust of wind moved in between them, causing both of them to charge at the other. Together with Karen, Obito, Sakura, Kurumi, Kakashi, and Temari. After a few minutes of running, Temari and the others discovered a good vantage point with a view of the destroyed outpost. Temari, Obito, and Kakashi hurried to the top of a rock formation and grabbed their binoculars. Temari strained to see if anyone was there and asked, "Do you see anything?" Using his Sharingan to improve his vision, Kakashi replied, "Yeah, I see them." From the look of it, they're both sizing each other up. Damn it. Of all the people he had to run into, it just had to be another Jinchuriki. Obito responded, "Worst case scenario, if he's getting his ass kicked I can go in and get him using my Kamui." "Hopefully, it won't come to that," Kakashi remarked. "Naruto, please stay safe," Temari worriedly thought. Alongside Naruto. Rushing toward Fu, Naruto opened both of his small fans and charged them with wind chakra. Using the wind sickle jutsu, Naruto launched two small wind blades in the direction of Fu as he raced toward him. Upon spotting the wind blades, Fu leapt over the first one and slid under the second, landing close to Naruto. With both fans closed, Naruto swung them like batons at Fu, who first avoided the first blow and then used her forearm to block the second. Fu attempted to kick Naruto in the head, but he raised his arms to block her blow. Fu then sent a low kick to his right leg, causing him to drop to one knee. Fu was dragged to the ground by Naruto, who then turned her over and mounted her. Naruto started punching Fu, who raised her hand to defend herself. Most of the punches were blocked by Fu, but one hit her in the jaw. Fu was ready when Naruto withdrew his fist and delivered another blow to her. Fu moved Naruto's blow to the other side of her body and then reached up to grab Naruto by the neck, placing him in a headlock. Fu started to choke Naruto, who let go of his fans to escape. Despite Naruto's best efforts, Fu was difficult to remove. As the blood supply to his brain was being cut off, Naruto started to lose consciousness. Then, in a flash of insight, he pulled out his gauntlet blade and stabbed Fu in the leg. Fu let go of Naruto and let out a painful cry. A moment later, Naruto turned and punched her in the face. Coughing, Naruto said, ** cough damn cough that cough hurt, as he crawled away from Fu, who was holding her face. He was reaching behind his back for his larger fan. For a brief moment, Fu was able to look past her tears and see Naruto grab and open his fan. Fu thought, "Oh crap baskets," as Naruto started to charge his fan with wind chakra and brought it back. Naruto let out a booming, wind scythe jutsu, unleashing a powerful gust of wind. As the gust subsided, he noticed Fu had disappeared and exclaimed, "Huh? Where'd she go?" With a confused expression, Naruto started searching for his green-haired opponent. Obito, Kakashi, and Temari together. Obito, Temari, and Kakashi were all staring through their binoculars with wide eyes. Guy, Obito said, rubbing his eyes, then he looked back through his binoculars and asked, "Are you seeing what I'm seeing?" Temari stated, I'm seeing it, but I'm not believing it. You have to be joking with me, remarked Kakashi. Alongside Naruto. As Naruto frantically glanced around, he thought, she has to be here somewhere. Then, he heard a very faint humming sound and thought, what the hell is? When Naruto was kicked in the back and sent skidding across the ground, his thoughts were cut short. He stopped, looked back, and said, bull. Fucking. Shit, almost popping out of his head. I bet you didn't expect this, Fu said, hovering around 10 feet above the ground and displaying what appeared to be insect wings coming out of her back. Naruto shook his head. When he returned, Naruto said, I'll admit. It's new to me, but that still won't help you. He then put up his large fan and picked up his 2 smaller fans that he had previously discarded. As he started to launch swift wind blades at Fu, Naruto yelled, Wind Sickle Jutsu. Fu started to fly around, dodging the wind blades with evasive maneuvers. She pulled out several kunai with explosive notes attached while performing a barrel roll. When Fu threw the kunai in Naruto's direction, he had to defend himself by firing wind blades in the direction of the approaching kunai, which caused them to explode in midair. When Fu noticed that Naruto was diverted, she turned around and headed directly towards him. Just as Naruto was about to unleash another wind sickle, Fu started to make hand signals. Hidden Rinpungakure no Jutsu. When Naruto shielded his eyes due to a blinding flash of light, an opening was created that Fu took advantage of. Fu turned and charged at full speed toward Naruto, legs first. He gave him a strong double kick to the chest that caused him to cough up blood before he even touched the ground. Naruto thought to himself, this is getting annoying, as he stood back up. He shouted, Shadow Clone Jutsu, and 8 clones materialized, widening Fu's eyes in the process. Naruto yelled, knock her out of the sky, as he and his clones started to pelt Fu with hundreds of wind blades. Fu started to sidestep and avoid Naruto's jutsu, but the sheer amount of wind blades was too much for her to handle. Just as she was about to roll, a wind blade struck her, severing her wing and sending her to the ground. As Naruto and his clones charged toward Fu, who was standing back up, he yelled, okay boys. Let's get her. Fu stood up right before the first clone reached her. The clone landed a punch that struck Fu in the stomach, but Fu was able to parry it by grabbing the clone's arm, pulling it down and dispelling it with a forceful knee to the face. When 2 more clones approached Fu, one of them swung its gauntlet blade at him. Fu dodged the blow and swept the clone's legs, causing him to fall. Fu kicked the clone toward the other clone before it hit the ground, using it as a projectile. Both clones collided and dispersed. 4 more clones charged at Fu, who pulled out multiple kunai and hurled them at them, causing the clones to scatter into a cloud of smoke. Then Fu saw something emerge from the smoke. It was Naruto, carrying a Rasengan in his hand and his final clone. Fu was hurled into a heap of debris and was unable to even cry out in agony as Naruto drove the attack into her stomach, yelling, Rasengan, to her. With a massive circular burn on her stomach, Fu struck the debris. I did it, Naruto exhaled heavily as his clone vanished. Green chakra started to emanate from Fu and encircle her as soon as he said that. Fu's wound started to mend and she gradually started to stand again. Fu's chakra started to materialize as a cloak that encircled her body and formed a tail. Oh no, thought Naruto anxiously. Shortly after, Fu developed a second tail and gave him a, oh shit, look. Now, a third tail was growing, and Fu was furious with Naruto, thinking, I fucked up. That really hurt, Fu angrily snarled. Looking at the now enraged Fu, Naruto stood motionless and wide-eyed, asking, is it too late to call it even? Fu nodded, responding, I kinda had a feeling you'd think that. Alongside Temari, Kakashi, Kurumi, and Obito. Temari, Kakashi, and Obito were all observing when they heard Kurumi speak, and they all agreed, saying, yep, it went from bad to worse. Kurumi yelled, man, fuck this shit. I'm going in to help him, as she grabbed her sword and dashed into the melee. As Kurumi fled, Obito yelled, get back here, goddammit. Just as Obito was about to pursue her, Kakashi intervened, saying, Kakashi, what the hell? Let's see how this plays out, said Kakashi, she might be what Naruto needs to tip the scales. Alongside Naruto. Naruto let out a loud, oh fuck, as he ducked under one of Fu's tails, which were swinging around like a wrecking ball. Naruto then fired 2 wind blades at Fu, but she quickly avoided them. Fu yelled, "Stop running," as she threw her tails at Naruto again. Naruto managed to jump over the first tail, but was struck by the second and knocked off his feet. Fu was about to strike Naruto once more when a fireball struck her in the back. When Fu turned, he saw that Kurumi was using the hand signals, fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu, again. Kurumi fired several tiny fireballs in Fu's direction, causing Fu to become defensive. Kurumi took advantage of Fu's momentary diversion to close in and use her sword, but Fu used her tails to stop the fireballs before they could get close. Kurumi lunged towards Fu, who momentarily ducked out of the way, but not before striking her lower left torso with a glancing blow. When Kurumi's attack failed, she cursed and quickly went on the defensive because Fu was starting to target her. Kurumi used her Sharingan to start dodging and weaving around Fu's attacks. Fu was staring at Kurumi so intently that she failed to notice someone else standing behind her. Naruto appeared behind her, his gauntlet blade drawn. With the blade emerging from her right chest, Naruto stabbed Fu in the back. Instinctively, Fu spun around and swatted Naruto away. Fu was about to enter but stopped when she realized what had happened. Naruto was thrown flying into a heap of debris and struck it hard. Fu looked at Naruto, who had a piece of rebar protruding from his chest. She spoke, I didn't mean to," as she turned to face Kurumi, but she stopped when she noticed something odd. As Kurumi saw this, her world started to change and blood started to run down her cheeks. Her Sharingan started to change and eventually took the shape of her Mangekyo Sharingan. Kurumi's Sharingan, with her 3 tomo equally spaced, resembled a 6. Spoke wheel. Kurumi turned to face Fu and yelled, You are going to motherfucking pay." The mindscape of Naruto. When Naruto awoke in his dream world, he looked around and exclaimed, "T, am I almost dead again?" From behind the cage, Kurama uttered, "Yes, you are. Why don't you want to kill the 7 Tails host? You could have done it almost a dozen times already." "Because it won't do any good," the fox replied to Naruto. "God damn it, I'm trying to not fuck up any more lives. She may be the enemy but she's not evil, I can tell she doesn't want to fight. She could just have easily killed me as I could have killed her," said Naruto. "I'll only kill those who deserve killing." The Kyuubi sighed with irritation. "That type of thinking will lead you to an early grave," declaring, "Such a stupid, chivalrous fool you are," as its red chakra started to leak out from behind the cage. The world started to change again, and around Naruto the red chakra started to form. Returning to reality, accompanied by Kurumi. Kurumi parried a swipe from Fu, drawing several shuriken and hurling them at her. Fu knocked the shuriken out of the air and was ready to strike Kurumi once more when she felt a strong chakra surge. Kurumi also sensed the chakra surge, and when she and Fu looked to see where it came from, they saw that it was coming from Naruto as he started to rise above the debris and unclip himself from the rebar. Red chakra started to cover Naruto, and he got to his feet as it started to form into the shape of a fox, with 2 long ears and a single tail. After a short while, a second tail appeared, and Naruto turned to face Fu. He had red, slitted eyes, more pronounced canines, and darker, more noticeable whisker marks. With a ferocious roar, Naruto leapt to her on all 4s and attacked. Fu raised her guard just in time to see Naruto coming. Naruto struck Fu with his longer, sharper nails, severing her across her stomach and leaving 4 gashes. Fu cried out in agony as Naruto went on with his attack. With a low kick that caught Fu off guard and knocked her down, Naruto lunged in for another kick that essentially punched Fu in the direction of Kurumi, who was still stunned. Kurumi straightened out of shock and prepared herself, striking a stance as Fu approached and struck at her. Kurumi cut Fu's back for a long time, from her lower left shoulder to her upper right shoulder. The pain was so excruciating that Fu was unable to even cry out. Kurumi turned around and kicked Fu, causing her to fall to the ground. Fu's chakra was less focused on giving her a power-up and more on healing her wounds, so she was on the ground as it started to fade. Kurumi stood above Fu and uttered the words, "Finally," and "Now die," as her sword descended. Fu watched in horror as the blade descended, closing her eyes in anticipation that it would kill her. But the pain didn't come as she had anticipated. When Fu opened her eyes, she saw that Naruto had quickly reached for the blade. No, Naruto growled, startling Kurumi. Fu said, "WH. Why are you sparing me?" With a mix of relief and perplexity. Without responding, Naruto struck Fu in the face, knocking her unconscious. His cloak started to fade, and he started to breathe heavily. Naruto, who was worn out, exclaimed, "OSH*T, that took a lot out of me." Kurumi said, "What are you doing?" As she turned off her Sharingan. "Why don't we kill her? She's the enemy." Naruto said, "Help me tie her up. I don't want to make another Asuka." He then reached into his pouch and pulled out some wire. After a brief period of hesitation, Kurumi assisted Naruto in tying her up to keep her in check. Naruto replied, "Okay, let's get the fuck out of here." Suna. With Naruto, Temari, Obito, Kakashi, Gaara, and Tsunade one day later. Gazing at Naruto, Temari, Obito, and Kakashi, Gaara stated, "We have her in a special holding cell. We sealed her chakra, but we should have Jiraiya double-check. So far, she's still unconscious." Gaara inquired, "How are you doing with Naruto?" Unlike the others, Naruto had severe bruises and was covered in bandages. "It feels like I was drop-kicked across the desert," he remarked, "but Nana Tsunade and Nana Chiyo assured me that I'll be okay in a week or two." "I would like to congratulate you on capturing the Seven Tails," Tsunade continued. "You have definitely put a hamper on the enemy's war effort. However, it is still only a small victory." Temari said, "What do we do now?" And Gaara answered, "Rest, recuperate and wait for Lord Jiraiya and his team," said Gaara. "We also have to deal with Kurumi as well," Obito stated. "Due to Naruto being nearly killed, she has the Mangekyo Sharingan. While I don't like it, we should capitalize on it." With a nod, Tsunade continued speaking. "I agree," Tsunade responded. "If what you tell me is true, then Kurumi is probably our best bet for beating Itachi. I recommend that both you and Kakashi give her your Sharingan and vice versa. When the time comes, I believe that you three will be specifically tasked with engaging and defeating Itachi," Tsunade continued, "although considering it's Itachi, I doubt even this will be a surefire way to win." "We still have to try," said Kakashi. "Other than Danzo and Orochimaru, he is our biggest threat." "Leave it for another day," Gaara said. "That is a problem for another day." Everyone nodded and she was dismissed. At the home of Naruto and Temari, alongside Naruto and Temari. As soon as Temari and Naruto arrived at their house, Temari sighed and Naruto asked, "So, Temari, what do you feel like?" After Temari stunned him by slapping him across the face, Naruto turned to see Temari sobbing and uttering, "I saw you get impaled on that rebar while we were on that rock," with barely suppressed rage. "You had to fight her by yourself, I guess. Do you know how fucking scared I was when I saw that?" Temari yelled, grabbing Naruto by his collar and yanking him closer. "I thought I lost you. I thought you fucking died for a moment. How could you be so fucking stupid?" Temari asked. Naruto stammered out a barely audible, I'm sorry." Temari started to hit his chest weakly and yelled, "You stupid fucking idiot. You stupid. Stupid. Oh god." Temari collapsed, and Naruto encircled her in his arms as she started to cry. Temari whimpered, "Don't you dare ever do something like that again." As he comforted his sobbing sweetheart, Naruto apologized to Temari. Land of Rice. Alongside Anko, Ebisu, and Jiraiya. "I'm counting over 500 heads down there," Anko exclaimed as she, Jiraiya, and Ebisu hid in the trees 200 yards away. "Fuck me," she said. Through his binoculars, Ebisu said, "Maybe more. These aren't your typical shinobi, though. Some of them appear to be dressed in rags and prison jumpsuits." "This isn't good," stated Ebisu. "If my hunch is correct, I think they're heading east." "Which means?" Jiraiya started to make hand signs and said, "They're heading to Kiri." When he slammed his hand down, two toads appeared and said, "Go to Kiri and Suna. Warn the Mizukage and the Kazekage." "I think we just found an invasion force," Jiraiya said, turning back to the massive force below. "I hope you all enjoyed this chapter, which is now complete. If so, kindly like, comment, and share with your friends. Until we meet again, goodbye. Kirigakure. Mei, Anko, and Ebisu in the council chamber. Standing before Mei Terumi and the Kiri War Council, Anko and Ebisu were giving an account of their observations from the land of rice. As Anko and Ebisu completed their reports, Mei Terumi paid close attention to everything that was said, not missing a word. Anko nodded as Mei continued, and you say you counted over 500 auto ninja. Yes, Lady Mizukage, replied Anko, and if I know my former master I can guarantee that these ninja won't be your run-of-the-mill rogue ninja. They will most likely be upper Chunin or John in level. And that's not taking into account any other groups or reinforcements from Konoha or Taki. Anko continued, it could be a lot more that we don't know of. And what kind of support is Suna and the other going to send? As of right now Kiri has so many troops to spare, Mei said, nodding and folding her hands in front of her face. We are expecting a contingent of spring ninja to arrive, but they may not get here in time. Kiri had 5,000 ninja when hostilities began a week ago. And so far 500 have been killed fighting Konoha and Taki ninja trying to infiltrate the country, Mei stated. We have no concrete information, but as far as I know, Suna is going to send help, Ebisu said as he adjusted his glasses. Lord Jiraiya told me and Anko here to stay in Kiri to assist you until help arrives. I appreciate your assistance, Mei replied. I just hope that Lord Gaara has a plan. Suna. Kazekage Tower. Alongside Temari, Naruto, Gaara, and other people. Jiraiya, Gaara, Tsunade, and Karen had just finished explaining what Jiraiya had discovered in the land of rice when Naruto, Temari, Akshio, Kakashi, Kurumi, and Karen stood in front of them. Kakashi's left eye was covered with a bandage since, 2 days prior, he and Obito had their Sharingan removed so Kurumi could implant them. Obito, on the other hand, was unharmed because, after receiving Hashirama's cells, his eye healed in a matter of hours. Concerned, Naruto asked, how many of you say are preparing to go to Kiri? Jiraiya shot him a glance. About 500, not to mention God knows how many ninjas from Konoha and Taki backing them up, Jiraiya continued, frankly we are in a real bind. Suna and Kiri have about 5,000 ninjas total. And that's not taking into account how many we lost so far, Jiraiya stated, meanwhile Konoha has more ninja than our alliance combined. Wait, what do you mean, replied Temari. Konoha may be bigger than Suna and Kiri but their numbers cannot be that high. At this, Tsunade shook her head and continued. Konoha had a force of 8,000 shinobi when we left but that's irrelevant to the current situation. Tsunade stated, when I had some of my Anbu spy on Danzo and Root we expected no more than 300 to 400 members. However when they attacked us in Konoha we saw that there were more than we could imagine. Tsunade continued. Danzo's Root may be in the thousands for all we know. Gaara remarked, which is why, regrettably, Suna cannot send a large force to help Kiri. Naruto shot Gaara a glare and continued. Naruto angrily remarked, so what? Are we just going to abandon our friends? Gaara shook his head. Gaara assured Naruto, no, we won't leave them behind. We just can't help them in quantity, but we can help them out in quality. Naruto inhaled and became more composed as Gaara went on. Gaara said, so I have a mission for Temari. Temari asked incoherently, for me, and Gaara nodded. Yes. I want you to lead a small contingent of Suna and exiled Konoha ninja to Kiri and support them against their upcoming invasion, Gaara replied. Naruto, Kakashi, Obito, Guy, Kurenai and Sume will join you to Kiri in order to help out the Mizukage. Kakashi held up his hand and said something. I recommend we take Sakura, Lee and Hinata along as well, said Kakashi. I think they can be invaluable additions. Tsunade nodded as she noticed what Kakashi was doing. That's right, Tsunade. Lee can fight alongside Guy, and Sakura and Hinata can help with medical care, Gaara nodded. Everyone nodded and started to leave, and as they did, Naruto turned to face Kakashi. Very well, Gaara said, you will leave in 3 days. Get your affairs in order. When Naruto said, hey Kakashi-sensei. How's the eye? Kakashi touched the bandage. It's a little tender but it should be fine in a few days, said Kakashi. I feel a little bad for Kurumi. Her transplant is worse since it was both of her eyes. She'll be fine, said Obito. She's my baby girl. She'll pull through and she'll be back in action as soon as possible. With Kurumi, Karen, and Sango in the interim. Kurumi was lying in bed with bandages over both of her eyes. "This stinks," she exclaimed, "but bed rest for a week, what a crock of crap." Sango patted her daughter's hand and comforted her, saying, "Don't worry, honey. You'll get your vision back and be back in action in no time." "Simply express gratitude for the time off," Karen said. "So, would you like to watch a movie or something else?" Kurumi scowled at this, and Karen took a step back. Kurumi furrowed her brow even more at this. "How about we go shopping and look at the—" Kurumi angrily yelled, "I'm blind, you idiot, just put on the radio for the love of God." Sango reached over and turned on Kurumi's radio. "You'd have to see it to believe it, everyone," the host said. "Watch as the moon turns a beautiful shade of turquoise from a passing meteor. If you don't see it, you're a chump and a loser. Tonight will be a unique moon color that you won't be able to see again." Kurumi sighed and slammed the radio, turning it off. Kurumi uttered an annoyed, "Stupid eternal manga. Whatever Sharingan." At the home of Naruto and Temari. Later that evening, with Naruto and Temari. As he and Temari entered the house from the backyard, Naruto exclaimed, "Wow, you're right, babe. The moon did look nice in turquoise." They heard someone knock on the front door and thought, "Huh, who's that?" With a shrug, Temari moved to open the door, letting Sakura and Kakashi inside. Temari questioned, "Kakashi-sensei, Sakura. What are you guys doing here?" Sakura shifted and Kakashi scratched the back of his head. Sakura said, Can we come in?" It's kind personal, and Temari and Naruto both gave them a warm welcome. Sakura shook her head in response to Naruto's question, "What's up, Sakura? Is it bad?" Sakura said, No, it's not that, but you might want to sit down." Temari and Naruto sat down on the couch, with Naruto stating, As you know, I'm a woman." Naruto furrowed his brow in bewilderment. Sakura blushed in embarrassment, Temari slapped her forehead, and Kakashi started to laugh as Naruto said, Yeah. I'd hope so. Otherwise it'd be pretty awkward since I asked you out on dates like 100 times." Sakura dismissed the remark, saying, "And as you know, women and men like to be in each other's company. So while you were presumed dead, I went out and found companionship." "Yep, same old Naruto," Sakura said. Naruto gave her a look that said, in essence, too many big words. Temari thought, "Oh god, he can't be this stupid," but then she remembered that Naruto had attempted to iron a shirt while wearing it. Temari addressed Naruto in a straightforward manner that he could comprehend, saying, "Naruto. Sakura is trying to say she in a relationship." Naruto exclaimed, "Oh, why didn't you just say that?" As everyone began to perspire. "Who is it? Is it Lee? I bet it's Lee." Sakura corrected herself, saying, "No, it's not Lee." "Konohamaru?" a wide-eyed Naruto inquired, leaving Sakura speechless. Sakura yelled, "What? No," and Naruto recoiled. Sakura turned pale as Naruto snapped his fingers and said, "It's Hinata, wasn't it?" Naruto started to think before realizing, wait. Maybe it's not a guy. Could it be? Naruto explained his reasoning, saying, "I mean, you two hang out a lot, and talk a lot. No judgment here, I'm not a homophobe or anything." Sakura and Hinata, Kakashi thought to himself. A picture of Sakura and Hinata in their underwear suddenly appeared in his mind, making him laugh and say, "I'd pay money to see that." "Ow," Sakura said, nudging Kakashi in the arm, and then he noticed the regretful expression on Sakura's face. Sakura said, "Naruto, me and Kakashi here are boyfriend and girlfriend," and then she grabbed Kakashi's hand. "We've been together for a year and we haven't told anyone until now," Sakura stated. With wide eyes and a bewildered expression, Naruto gestured between Sakura and Kakashi, asking them to wait until they were together. Both of them nodded. "We wanted to make sure you were okay with it," Kakashi said, putting his arm around Sakura. "We just thought that you should know. I love Sakura and I'd never do anything to hurt her." "Well, it's a little weird seeing my former crush and my former sensei together," Naruto remarked, rubbing the back of his head. "But I'm fine with it. As long as you two are happy, that's all that matters," everyone sort of agreed. At this, Sakura and Kakashi grinned. Sakura grinned slightly and said, "Thanks, Naruto. I knew we could trust you." "Alright, we're heading out now. Just as Karen and Kankuro were about to knock, Sakura and Kakashi turned around and opened the door. "Kankuro, Karen, what are you doing here?" Sakura said. Rubbing the back of his head, Kankuro remarked, well you see. After a few seconds, Temari and Kankuro's expressions revealed that Naruto was correct. "Let me guess you and Karen are dating," Naruto joked. Temari laughed. "Oh my god," Naruto exclaimed. Temari got to her feet and approached Karen while wearing an irate expression. Temari snapped, "You defiled my baby brother. I'll kill you." Naruto raced over and wrapped his arms around Temari's waist, saying, "Naruto, let me go." As Temari attempted to escape Naruto's hold, Naruto turned to face Karen. Karen didn't think twice before turning around and running down the street as Temari's yells filled the air, thinking, "Run." "She can only be mad at me," Naruto said. Karen thought, "Oh no, I'm going to hear about this tomorrow." Meanwhile, with Shikamaru in Konoha, Orochimaru and Kabuto, as well as an unidentified sound of ninjas, were walking through the middle of the night toward an abandoned section of the village when Shikamaru found himself walking down a road in the middle of the night. Shikamaru thought, they couldn't have found someone else to do this. Kiba would have made more sense here. I should be getting ready for the Kiri invasion, not prowling around in the middle of the night. Orochimaru looked at the Nara and said, I sense you're on ease, Shikamaru. Don't worry, this will only take a moment of my time. As they continued to walk, Shikamaru remarked, I'm here to help, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. They passed an old, dilapidated shrine and wondered, what is this, some kind of ancient shed? Be mindful of your tone, Kabuto warned, giving Shikamaru a glare in response. Orochimaru turned around and grinned, saying, you watch who you're talking to. Shikamaru added, I can kill all three of you with minimal effort. I have no doubt. You have an air around you, Nara, Orochimaru responded, anger, regret, lust. I can feel it. As Orochimaru entered the shrine, Shikamaru remained silent and noticed that different masks were hanging on one of the walls. To answer your question, this is a shrine built by the Uzumaki clan, Orochimaru replied. This is where Mito Uzumaki and Hashirama Senju got married. But also where they keep a secret to a certain jutsu. Shikamaru began, Uzumaki. But then realized, Naruto had a clan. Why is this not known? Because the clan is all but wiped out. Out of a clan of 100 there was only one verified survivor, Orochimaru stated. She was here in Konoha and married to a certain someone. Orochimaru commanded his ninja to go and get started, saying that this was not the time for a history lesson. Yes, my lord, the ninja replied as he unlocked a scroll to reveal 4 imprisoned prisoners. The ninja then proceeded to the wall, took a particular mask, put it on, and moved to the center of the room. Sealing Jutsu, Reaper Death Seal. Release, was the last hand sign the ninja used before stopping. The Shinigami materialized behind him, and Shikamaru felt sick to his stomach. As the Shinigami turned to face the Auto Ninja who had executed the jutsu, Shikamaru thought, no way. What the hell are they planning to do? He asked himself. 3 days later, Temari and company were at the Suna front gate with Naruto. While Naruto and the others were getting ready, Temari was standing a short distance away, surveying her assembled team. Naruto adjusted the fan on his back. The group included herself, Naruto, Obito, Kakashi, Guy, Kankuro, Sakura, Lee, Hinata, Kurenai, and Sume. Looks like everyone is here, Temari thought to herself. Kurenai straightened her backpack and turned to face Hinata. When she saw the expression on Hinata's face, Kurenai felt awful. While Hinata lost her lone surviving relative, Kurenai lost Asuma. Kurenai approached her and rested a hand on her shoulder. Kurenai questioned, Hinata, are you okay? We will understand if you decide not to go on the mission. Hinata shook her head. Kurenai smiled at this and was about to say, I'm not okay Kurenai-sensei, but Hinata interrupted, saying, but Hanabi wouldn't want me to wallow in self-loathing. I believe my time will be better used fighting than sitting in my room. Lee said in a cheerful voice, that's the way Hinata, use your fist to bring justice to those in need. Hinata grinned a little at this, and Kurenai had an idea. Lee is right Hinata, stated Kurenai. Lee, if you would be so kind to be Hinata's battle partner. It would be wise since you are both taijutsu users. Lee replied after giving a nod. Excellent idea, Kurenai-sensei. Lee responded, hope you are ready for battle, Hinata. For you and me will defeat 100 enemies by ourselves. And if we cannot do that, then we will have to defeat 200 the next time, said Lee. At this, Hinata laughed and said, I look forward to it, Lee, experiencing a brief moment of joy. Sume called out, grabbing everyone's attention, okay people, listen up. Ever since we got here, I realized that we have a problem. Sume then proceeded to flaunt her forehead protector. If we wear our leaf headbands, we might be mistaken for the enemy. So I came up with an alternative, Sume said as she removed a box. I spent all night making these. Sorry if they're not perfect. Sakura picked up one of the new forehead protectors and examined the plate, while Kakashi, Hinata, Lee, Guy, and Kurenai all approached and peered inside the box. The cloth was black instead of the customary blue, and the Konoha symbol in the center was replaced with the kanji for Teiko, or resistance. Sakura exclaimed, wow, these actually look good, taking off her leaf protector and asking Sume, how does it look? Kakashi repositioned his and angled it to cover his eye, saying, like we mean business. Everyone in Konoha put one on, and Naruto grinned and said, hey, pup. Sume then pointed out that Naruto was from Konoha as well, and Naruto grabbed the forehead protector that she threw over. Grinning, he ran his fingers over the kanji. Naruto, who already had his Suna 1 on his forehead, tied it around his right bicep. Many thanks, Sume, Naruto said, receiving a thumbs up from Sume. Temari grinned, too, happy for her boyfriend. Temari gave Naruto a cheek kiss and remarked, it looks great, babe. Let's go, we have a boat to catch. With a collective nod, they all fled the village towards the southern port of Suna. 3 days later, at Kiri Port, with Temari, Naruto, and others. As they approached the approaching landmass, Naruto and the others on an unmarked merchant ship walked to the top deck. Finally we arrived, Naruto exclaimed, stretching his legs, I can't wait to get off this boat. Naruto and the others prepared their belongings and waited as the boat got closer to the harbor. When the boat docked, they got off and were met by 3 people. Mei smiled and said, hello Naruto, Temari. Nice to see you again after so long. Mei, how are you doing? Naruto asked as he leaned in to shake hands. Mei said, oh come on Naruto. No need for that, opening her arms to embrace him. Naruto hugged Mei, then Mei turned to face Temari, chirping, you to Temari, making Temari blush. W. What? Temari asked, interrupting Mei's pout. Fine, she replied. Mei and Naruto then parted ways, and Temari hugged her. There we go, Mei said, squeezing her for a brief moment before releasing her. I'm glad you're all here, she said. Mei led him over to one of her 2 followers and said, Naruto, this is Utakata. The container of the 6 tails. There is someone you need to meet. The man in front of Naruto opened his eyes wide. He was slightly taller than he was, had black hair that reached his neck, and was dressed in a blue kimono. Hello Naruto. Mei has told me a lot about you, Utakata responded. I must say your willpower is something to behold. To endure what you did takes a lot of courage. Naruto smiled slyly at him. As he put his arm around Temari's waist, Naruto remarked, well, I wasn't on my own. I wouldn't be here without Temari and her brothers. The other member of Mei's group started chuckling. As he approached, the man said, you are an exception. Not everyone is so fortunate. Naruto noticed the odd-looking man, who had a huge sword on his back, blue skin and hair, and what appeared to be gills on his cheeks. My name is Kisame Hoshigaki. Former rogue ninja of Kiri and one of the 7 swordsmen, said Kisame. Wait, you're the Kisame Hoshigaki. The S. Class missing ninja, the guard asked, to which Kakashi, Guy, Sume, and Kurenai all nodded. As Mei moved between the 2 groups, Kisame remarked, that's me in the flesh. When the war broke out, Kisame came back to Kiri in order to defend his former homeland. Mei stated, while we cannot ignore his past crimes, his services are needed. Upon the end of the war he will once again become a missing ninja. And that's just how I like it, Kisame continued. Even a low life like me has a sense of duty. Once I know Kiri is going to win, I'm taking my happy ass out of here. As he shook his hand, Naruto said, hey, technically I'm a missing ninja too. So we are in the same boat kinda, to the group members who had been staring at him in suspension. Kisame let out a hearty laugh at this. Kisame grinned like a shark tooth and said, I like you, kid. Mei said, okay, enough talking. Are you ready to go? Our camp is in the eastern marshes. If we move quickly, we can get there in about a day. Temari ordered, lead the way, Lady Mizukage, as she and the others trailed Mei to Kiri's eastern border. Eastern Kiri, after a week. Kabuto Yakushi and his 3 commanders, one from Ado, one from Taki, and one from Konoha, were standing on the top deck of one of the 10 ships that were slowly making their way towards the shoreline as they navigated the foggy waters of Kiri's eastern sea. Kabuto inquired of his Ado commander, are the troops ready? Yes, sir, the commander nodded, the 500 test subjects from the eastern hideout as well as all 1,000 Ado ninja are ready. The Konoha commander declared, we are ready too. 1,000 Root and Konoha ninja are waiting for orders. Taki is ready as well, said the commander of Taki, half of our 500 troops are in reserve. The other half is in the water disabling the enemy's sea mines. As he turned to face Kiri's coast, Kabuto remarked, very good. Send in the first wave to secure the beach, he ordered, and the Ado commander nodded. The Ado commander said, yes, sir, and turned to leave. With Naruto, Temari, Kakashi, and Obito on the beach. As the enemy invasion force approached, Naruto, Temari, Kakashi, and Obito, along with the remaining ninja of Kiri, hunkered down along the shoreline. Goddamn, Naruto exclaimed, peering through his binoculars, there's so many. We are definitely outnumbered, Temari stated, we have 2,000 here with us. Kakashi remarked, we may be outnumbered, but we are not outclassed, and Obito gave a nod. We also have the element of surprise and a home field advantage, Obito stated, we got this. Mei told Naruto and Temari that 3 ships were approaching the coast, and that once they were in range, they should be hit with everything they had. A few seconds later, Mei crept over to join Naruto and the others. Mei was dressed in Kiri armor instead of her usual clothes. Temari and Naruto nodded in agreement. Fox, are you ready for this? I'll need your help, he thought to himself. The Kyuubi remarked, hee, of course brat. I wouldn't miss a chance to cause some carnage. Naruto turned to face Temari, and he said something. Naruto said, the fox is going to give me some help, and Temari gave him a nod. Both Temari and Naruto stood up and walked calmly onto the beach. Both Naruto and Temari grabbed their large fans and opened them. Okay, Temari said as she looked and saw the ships were now in range. Let's do it. Temari drew a line of blood along the fan after biting her thumb. Naruto's eyes slitted and turned red as he felt a rush of chakra. He charged the fox's chakra into his fan until it glowed red. Temari asked, are you ready? And Naruto nodded. Naruto said, let's do this. Alongside Kabuto. Lord Kabuto, the Root Commander called out, grabbing his attention with a speaking voice as he peered through a pair of binoculars. Take a look. When Kabuto used the binoculars he had given him, he was able to see 2 people holding objects on the beach. Kabuto remarked, who are they? Some sort of scouting party? As he trained his binoculars on Naruto and Temari, who were holding their fans in jest. Kabuto commanded, tell the ships to stop. Now. Alongside Temari and Naruto. As they simultaneously swung their fans, Naruto and Temari yelled, wind style, wind combined jutsu. They then unleashed an incredibly strong wind jutsu that roared across the sea to the 3 ships at breakneck speed. When the 3 ships were struck by a jutsu that tore apart the body and the hull, they were helpless. Temari and Naruto watched as men and timber flew in different directions, demonstrating the strength of their combined attack. As he turned to face Temari, Naruto exclaimed, holy shit, looking surprised. That was awesome. As soon as Mei saw that Naruto and Temari's jutsu had struck 3 enemy ships, she stood up and yelled, Shinobi of Kiri. Stand by. At that moment, the entire force of Kiri Shinobi and its allies stood up, shouting, advance. Under Mei's leadership, the entire force launched itself into the sea to confront the enemy there, where their training in water ninjutsu and sea warfare would put them at a disadvantage. Alongside Kabuto. 3 ships carrying 300 men had been taken out before they reached shore, and now a force of Kiri ninja was advancing on them, which infuriated Kabuto. Kabuto thought to himself, damn it. How did they find out where we were coming from? The Taki commander questioned, Lord Kabuto, what should we do? Should we retreat? The Konoha commander responded, no, we should fight them head on, to which Kabuto nodded. Yes, we should, Kabuto uttered as he dug a scroll out of his pouch. We need to act now. We are using too many resources to support this invasion. It appears that we must tilt the balance, Kabuto remarked, unspooling the scroll to reveal 4 puffs of smoke. The Konoha commander exclaimed, No way, as he saw the Edo Tensei bodies of Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju, Hiruzen Sarutobi, and Minato Namikaze in front of him. What the hell, exclaimed Hashirama as he turned to face his brother and asked, Tobirama, where are we? The last I remember, we were fighting in Konoha. Hashirama started saying, crap, before even seeing Hiruzen. Tobirama said, I think this is the Edo Tensei, elder brother, and then he peered around to find Kabuto. And I think it was him who brought us here, Tobirama said. How right you were, Lord Second, Kabuto grinned. We are in Kiri and Lord Orochimaru wishes to take it over. And we require your assistance. Hiruzen became enraged and exclaimed, damn Orochimaru, he's still causing me trouble even in death. I do not wish to do this, said Minato. Mr. Kabuto, I beseech you. Let us rest, there is no need for this, war is not the answer. Kabuto looked at Minato and started to laugh. Then, Kabuto pointed to his Konoha commander and said, well, how about this then? Konoha has allied with Otto in the invasion of Kiri. As the Konoha commander nodded, Minato and the others watched in horror. Kabuto then made the decision to strike again, saying, and also just a little fun fact about the enemy. Lord Third, Lord Fourth. Naruto is with them. Hiruzen and Minato exclaimed, you're lying, as they turned to face Kabuto. Naruto is a proud Konoha ninja. He'd never betray the leaf, Hiruzen added. At this, Kabuto laughed. You're right, he wouldn't. Konoha betrayed him, Kabuto replied, they tried to kill him for killing a traitor. So he escaped and ran off to Suna like the coward he is. Konoha. The village I sacrificed my life for. Tried to kill my son, Minato said, balling his fists. And it's all thanks to you and the fox, Lord Fourth, said Kabuto. Minato called Kabuto a bastard, and Kabuto grinned back. Kabuto waved his hand and said, enough talk. Go and dispose of them. And Lord Fourth, say hi to Naruto for me. Kabuto smirked and said, looks like this battle is going to be interesting, as Minato and the other Hokage all leapt away. Alongside Temari, Obito, Kakashi, Naruto, and others. With the Konoha and Kiri shinobi trailing them, Naruto and Temari dashed across the water in the direction of the 3 enemy ships they had just destroyed. Naruto took out both of his smaller fans and flipped his larger fan onto his back. While sprinting across the water, Naruto noticed multiple adversary shinobi attempting to escape. He immediately charged his chakra, wind sickle jutsu, and unleashed 2 wind blades in the direction of his adversaries. After hitting their targets, Naruto's wind blades blew the opposing ninja away. Temari commented, good shot, and Naruto grinned. As they got closer to the ship, Naruto responded, thanks, babe. Now let's take these bastards. However, he was cut off in mid-sentence because a kunai was approaching. When the kunai made contact with Naruto's fans, he realized it wasn't your typical kunai because it had 3 prongs and kanji paper on the handguard. Naruto exclaimed, what the hell? Just as a yellow flash materialized in front of him. While this stunned everyone, Obito, Kakashi, Guy, Kurenai, Anko, and Ebisu all realized what was going on but were unable to speak quickly enough. A man with spiky blonde hair and a white haori with flames at the bottom materialized, holding a Rasengan in his right hand. Rasengan, he exclaimed, pressing the chakra sphere into his stomach. With a second yellow flash, the blonde man disappeared and Naruto was launched across the water. Temari broke off and chased after him, yelling, Naruto, as she did. Kakashi asked, Obito, did you see that? And Obito nodded. Yeah, it was Minato-sensei, replied Obito, but he died a long time ago. How is this possible? When Kakashi realized what that meant, his eyes widened. Everyone halt, he yelled, but it was too late. The second Hokage was perched atop one of the damaged ships when a shout proclaiming, "Water Style, Water Vortex Jutsu," reached Kakashi's ears. As the ninja approached, the water beneath the ship started to swirl and rise. Mei saw this and signaled, "Water Style, Water Dragon Jutsu," with her own hands. As a water dragon appeared beneath her feet, she exclaimed. When Tobarama's water vortex and Mei's water dragon collided, a massive geyser erupted into the sky. Mei turned around and yelled, "Keep pushing. I'll get through to him." Mei nodded and followed Kisame to battle the second Hokage. "I'm coming too," Kisame smiled. "I got a feeling that he's going to be a handful." "Dude, Kurenai, Anko, and Ebisu, take the center ship. Kakashi and I will go to the ship on the far right," Obito swore. Guy firmly said, "Copy that. Let's go, Lee and ladies." Anko remarked to Kurenai and Hinata, who were both drenched, "Ha. He called you ladies." Kurenai said, "How the hell am I friends with you?" Guy and the other members of the team split up with some Kiri ninja, and Kakashi turned to face Sakura from behind him. Sakura nodded as Kakashi said, "Sakura, stay with me and Obito. I have a feeling we're going to need healing by the end of this." Sakura nodded and followed Kakashi and Obito, saying, "Right." Alongside Naruto. Naruto stopped and used his walk on water technique to stand off the water as he saw another kunai approaching him. "Crap," he yelled as he skipped across the water, "Shit, fuck, ow, damn it." When Minato appeared at the kunai, she grabbed it and pulled out 6 shuriken, which she threw at Naruto before using hand signals. Naruto then opened his fans and launched a wind sickle towards the kunai, causing it to fly up into the air. Minato yelled, "Shadow Shuriken Jutsu," as the shuriken multiplied from 6 to 60. Seeing this, Naruto fired another wind jutsu towards the approaching shuriken. The majority of the shuriken were knocked out of the air by Naruto's wind jutsu, but some got through and one struck him in the bicep. When Minato fell into the water and used the water-walking jutsu to land on land, Naruto winced in pain. When Minato saw that Naruto was about to attack, he raised his fans, activated his gauntlet blade, and dashed in Minato's direction. With his kunai in hand, Minato ran up to Naruto and they started fighting with blades. Naruto slashed at Minato, but Minato sidestepped and sent a stab towards Naruto's chest. Naruto then used his other hand to swat Minato's arm away before kicking Minato in the chest. With a quick flick of his wrist, Minato launched his kunai towards Naruto's head. The character managed to avoid the blow, but not before Minato, using his Hirishin to get behind him, kicked him in the back. After falling forward, Naruto quickly caught his balance and reached back to grab his fan, swinging it like a club towards Minato, who raised his arms to defend himself but was knocked away while flipping in the air and hearing a shout. Wind Scythe Jutsu. Minato turned to see Temari swinging her fan and hurling a potent wind jutsu in his direction. Minato was startled and immediately threw his kunai into the water before disappearing once more. Temari ran up and yelled, "Naruto, are you okay?" She saw that his skin was burned but was healing slowly, and that his jacket was torn. As Naruto's stomach began to heal, he said, "Yeah. The fox is helping me." A moment later, the water erupted and Minato flew out of the water to stand once more. Minato proudly remarked, "Wow, impressive, Naruto. You lasted a lot longer than a lot of other people." Naruto cocked his head to the side in confusion. Minato became extremely surprised when Naruto said, Sorry dude. Do I know you?" Minato turned to face the kanji that read, "I'm the 4th Hokage," on his haori and said, "Oh yeah, Along with wide eyes, Naruto exclaimed, startling Temari, "Wait. Dad." Naruto and Temari both started to perspire at this point. "That's me. Minato Namikaze in the FLE." "Oh yeah, that right, I'm not alive," Minato said, rubbing the back of his head. "But look how big you've gotten. Last time I saw you, you had baby fat and you were crying." "I was 30 minutes old," said Naruto. "Okay, never mind that. How are you here?" Temari moaned as Minato said, "Some guy named Kabuto summoned me, Lord 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Minato turned to face Temari and said, "Of course he did. Damn Kabuto. Temari also said, I wish I killed him during the Chunin exams. Temari blushed at this nod. Miss, if you don't mind me asking. Are you Naruto's girlfriend or something? Minato inquired. Yes, me and Naruto have been together for about 3 years now, Temari replied with a grin. I'm also the daughter of the 4th Kazekage and sister to the 5th. Well, look at that, Naruto. We do have something in common, said Minato. I bagged a princess from Uzu and you bagged a princess from Suna. Surprised, Naruto exclaimed, hey, how about that? Minato nodded gravely as Naruto asked, so how do we defeat you? Naruto and Temari nodded as Minato stated, you two will need to find a way to restrain me. Then once you're done you will need to put a seal on me. Well, I'm not sure about Temari, but Fuinjutsu isn't my forte, said Naruto. Minato said, it's okay, Naruto. I'll show you the hand signals so you can slap it on me. Naruto nodded, it's very simple. Are you ready? Go for it, Naruto exclaimed, how difficult could it be? It goes. Bird, boar, tiger, snake, ox, horse, rabbit, monkey, dog, rat, bird, rat, ram, dragon, horse, boar, ox, tiger, bird, tiger, ox, monkey, ram, dog, bird, rabbit, rat, snake, monkey and ram. Minato confidently stated, you got it, son. With a blank expression on his face, Naruto said, hesitantly, Bird. Tiger. Temari slapped her forehead and Minato started to perspire. Temari thought, I guess genius does skip a generation. Naruto nodded and Temari said, I got it, baby, don't worry. Thank you, Kami, Naruto said with relief. Okay, Temari, let's go beat up my dad, he said, making a hand gesture. Multi-shadow clone jutsu, Naruto exclaimed. Minato nodded as 500 Naruto clones materialized all around her. Alright, now it's my turn, Minato said, making the same hand gesture for shadow clone jutsu. He had already created 4 shadow clones, making 5 total. Let's see how this plays out, Minato continued. Kisame and Mei together. Tobirama was staring at Mei and Kisame as they ran across the water in a horizontal motion while keeping pace. Alright, let's start this party. Kisame exclaimed, starting to perform the water style, water shark bomb jutsu, hand sign. He then conjured up a gigantic water shark and hurled it in Tobirama's direction. Mei started making hand signs herself as Tobirama saw this and started to go through water style, water cannon, hand signs, firing a strong water cannon towards the water shark and destroying it. Lava style, magma bullets. Tobirama started to make hand signals after Mei fired a barrage of magma bullets in his direction. Water style, water wall. Tobirama erected a wall of water in front of him, and the magma bullets struck it, slowing down and cooling into obsidian as a result. The water wall then dissipated, and Tobirama turned to face Mei and Kisame. I must say I'm impressed with your use of water jutsu, Mei responded. Who are you exactly? Who are you two? I'm Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage, Tobirama inquired. Mei confidently introduced herself as, I'm Mei Terumi, the 5th Mizukage. Hi, I'm Kisame Hoshigaki, one of the 7 swordsmen from the village hidden in the mist. I'm going to enjoy killing you, Kisame grinned, raising an eyebrow at Tobirama. Tobirama uttered, I'm already dead. And do you even know how to defeat an Edo Tensei? Kisame grinned in response. Kisame asked, how hard can it be? Tobirama just sighed and turned to face Mei. Either completely destroy my body or destroy the seal in my head, Mei replied with a nod, but I must warn you both. This will not be easy. I may not have any earth to use, but I still have fire, wind, water and lighting jutsu at my disposal. Mei said, thanks for the warning, and then made the hand gesture for water clone jutsu. As Kisame took Samahada and opened it, Mei conjured up 12 water clones. Let's see how this goes. I've been looking for a good fight, Kisame grinned. Alongside Obito, Sakura, and Kakashi. Swords, kunai, shuriken, and other weapons were flying and clanging as the battle reverberated across the waters between Obito, Kakashi, Sakura, and several dozen other Kiri ninja on top of the enemy ship in a massive melee. As 2 Auto ninja attempted to slash him with kunai, Obito used his Kamui to phase through 2 of their attacks. Both ninja phased through the house as if he didn't exist and wound up behind him. Obito then quickly turned around and threw 2 shuriken, which instantly killed the 2 targets as soon as they found their marks and implanted themselves into their brain stems. Gazing across the ship, Obito witnessed Sakura and Kakashi engaging in a back and forth battle with multiple auto ninja. When Kakashi blocked an auto ninja's strike and struck back, the ninja's airway was damaged and he started to gag. Kakashi then continued his attack, sending a kick to his head that caused it to whip to the side, breaking his neck. Sakura, meantime, sent the auto ninja flying across the deck and into another auto ninja, knocking them both off the ship and into the water below. Sakura ducked under a slash from an auto ninja and cocked back her fist. Cha! Sakura roared as she drove her fist into his gut using her super strength. "How are you doing, Kakashi?" Sakura asked as she turned to face Kakashi. "So far, so good," Kakashi remarked as he pulled out a kunai. Suddenly, Obito, Sakura, and Kakashi heard a crash and turned to face the center of the deck, where they saw someone they hadn't seen in a while. While in the center of the ship, Hiruzen started to use hand signals, fire style, dragon flame bomb. Hiruzen then let loose a strong fire jutsu that ignited the ship's port side, striking both Kiri and the auto ninja. A few Kiri ninja charged towards Hiruzen, and he thought, "Kami, forgive me." Hiruzen assumed his taijutsu stance and waited for the ninja to approach. The first ninja struck him with a sword, but Hiruzen quickly dodged and grabbed his arm. He then kicked him in the face and raised his sword to face the other ninja. Even though Hiruzen didn't like to use swords, he cut the Kiri ninja's neck, severing his arteries in the process. Just as she was finishing up the hand signs, a Kiri kunoichi appeared from his side. Water style. Water bullets. After firing a barrage of water bullets at Hiruzen, the kunoichi himself began to make hand signals. When the first Kiri ninja saw this, he charged in with only his hands and started to throw punches and kicks. Wind style. Greek breakthrough. Hiruzen unleashed a powerful wind jutsu that destroyed the water bullets. He then threw the sword at the girl and nailed her in the forehead, piercing her brain. After deflecting several blows, Hiruzen caught a kick, bent the ninja's knee, and sent him sprawling to the ground. Hiruzen lifted his foot to stomp on the Kiri ninja's head, but before he could, his leg was kicked out from under him. When Hiruzen saw a blur of pink come from his other side, Kakashi rushed over and kicked Hiruzen's leg away, sparing the Kiri ninja from death. Kakashi then threw a punch, which Hiruzen blocked. Hiruzen was sent sailing across the deck and into a bulkhead when Sakura balled up her fist and punched him in the abdomen. Hiruzen looked down and saw his abdomen reforming before looking back up. Hiruzen was surprised to see Kakashi, Sakura, and another man standing across from him. "Sakura, look at you. You've grown up into a fine young lady," he said, expressing both happiness and sadness at the same time. Sakura said, "Thank you, Lord Third. It's been pretty hard, but I found my ninja way and found my new goal." Hiruzen grinned and turned to face the other madman, who was standing next to Kakashi and dressed in a Suna uniform. Upon noticing that he was carrying a Sharingan, Hiruzen became perplexed. "You're a Uchiha, but how? All were killed by Itachi?" he exclaimed. Obito exclaimed, "It's me, Obito," to Hiruzen's stunned expression. "I was alive the entire time, but I've been living in self-imposed exile. I'm a Suna ninja, Naruto's sensei, husband, and father," Obito continued. "You don't remember me, Lord Third?" Hiruzen said, "What all this time? Kakashi, how is this possible?" Kakashi shrugged in response. "I'm sorry, Lord Third. But we must defeat you," Kakashi said, and Hiruzen nodded. "I don't know. I just found out a few weeks ago myself," Kakashi said, turning to face Hiruzen. "But enough about that," Kakashi said, striking a familiar stance. As Sakura assumed her stance, Hiruzen questioned, "Sakura, what is your goal?" Sakura spoke, "To become Hokage. To honor Naruto," and Hiruzen nodded. Hiruzen took a stance and said, "I heard about what happened to Naruto. I should have done more. Now, no more talking. Please stop me," Hiruzen said. "If you see him again, tell him I'm sorry for my failures." Obito said, taking a stance, "We will." Alongside Hinata, Kurenai, Anko, Lee, and Guy. On the deck of a different ship, Guy, Kurenai, Anko, Lee, and Hinata were engaged in combat with several dozen Kiri shinobi in an attempt to destroy the adversary. Guy roared, "Dynamic entry," as he leapt through the air and landed in his taijutsu stance, knocking out the auto ninja with a full force kick to the face. As more ninja approached, Guy spun around and executed a wide area crescent kick, eliminating all of his opponents. "Go for it. You can't beat me," Guy declared, flashing that shining good. Guy smiled. "Woohoo. Go Guy-sensei," Lee chanted. "Hinata, we must hurry. We must catch up to Guy-sensei." "Oh. Okay," was the stammer Hinata let out during their side battle with Lee. She then noticed an auto ninja charging toward her, brandishing a kunai, but Hinata sidestepped the blow and struck Lee multiple times, cutting off his chakra system. After kicking him out of the way, Hinata resumed her attack stance. With a smile on his face, Lee noticed some auto ninja approaching. He patiently waited for them to get close before launching his attack. Shouting, "Leaf Hurricane," Lee launched a spinning kick that sent the auto ninja hurtling through the air. Leaping up, he kicked the adversaries in midair, sending them soaring over the ship's side. As the enemy kept pouring onto the deck, Anko and Kurenai were fighting side by side. "There are a lot of these bastard," Anko exclaimed as she kicked an enemy away. "Where are they all coming from?" Kurenai asked. Kurenai was able to stun an auto ninja long enough for her to remove a kunai and ram it into his heart, saying, "Be alert. We're not sure what else they have up their sleeves." From below deck, Kurenai said as she performed hand signs for a genjutsu. Guy returned to his fighting stance after taking out another ninja with a blow to the head as the battle raged. Suddenly, Guy felt a rumble beneath him and peered down at the wooden deck. Guy jumped back as the wooden spike shot up into the air, almost hitting him, but he managed to duck back in time and only sustained a minor wound on his chest. As wooden spikes started to protrude from the deck, impaling both Kiri and Auto Ninja, the entire deck started to tremble. As soon as Guy yelled, "Move," everyone on board, including Lee, Hinata, Anko, and Kurenai, jumped over the ship's side and into the water below, where they all started using the water walking technique. The creatures, dressed in a mixture of town and dirty scrubs, with varying degrees of deformities. Guy knew at one point that they were human, but could see any resemblance now, jumped from the opening of the ship to the water below, and he watched in horror as the others did the same. "It's Lord Orochimaru's rejects," yelled one of the Auto Ninja, "Retreat." Guy was confused as all the other Auto Ninja started to fall back, thinking they were allies, but this was thrown out the window when several of the creatures started to chase after the Auto Ninja and started tearing them apart. Fearful of the creatures, Hinata said, "W. What are those things?" Anko gave her a quick glance before continuing. "If I was a betting woman, I guess more of my master's twisted experiments," Anko replied with disdain. "Why am I not surprised?" Guy was about to charge the group of creatures when he noticed a blur of red approaching him. He blocked an oncoming kick with his arms raised, grabbed his opponent's leg, and swung him toward the water, but the opponent stopped himself by running chakra through his hands. Guy and the other Konoha ninja stared in shock at the person who had just attacked them as he kicked Guy in the face, breaking his hold and springing back into his stance. Guy was astounded and shook his head when Hashirama Senju introduced himself as the first Hokage, saying, "Hello there. I see you are ninja of Konoha, pleased to meet you." Hashirama nodded and smiled at this. "Pleased to meet you. I am Might Guy," Guy said with a smile. "And sadly I must defeat you. I will not let you hurt any of my comrades, please forgive me." Hashirama said, "I understand. Please, don't hold back," as he assumed his position. Lee ran up to Guy and said, "Guy-sensei, allow me to help you. With our combined power, we can defeat him." Guy said, "How kind of you, Lee. Let's get underway, shall we?" Lee nodded, and the two crossed their arms and focused. Guy and Lee uttered the words, "First gate. Gate of opening, open," while Hashirama watched with curiosity. Second gate. Gate of healing, open, was what excited Hashirama since he had previously battled Madara when he had experienced a similar chakra surge. Fourth gate. Gate of pain, open, Guy and Lee shouted, opening their fourth gates. Both Guy and Lee looked at Hashirama with determination as their chakra flowed out of them like a swift waterfall. Third gate. Gate of life, open, Guy and Lee shouted as the water started to shift around them and their chakra began to surge. Guy and Lee's skin started turning red, their veins started bulging, and the pupils vanished. Wow. Hashirama made a hand sign that read, "Wood style, wood clone," and said, "Such power. I look forward to fighting you both." He then created a single wood clone out of shipwreckage and turned to face Guy and Lee. "One of me for each of you. Do not hold back," Hashirama uttered. "Also aimed for my head, it has my seal. At least that's what Tobarama told me all those years ago." Guy and Lee shouted, with the power of youth, as they charged Hashirama and his clone. Alongside Temari and Naruto. Out of the 500 clones that Naruto created, 100 have already been destroyed, and only one of Minato's clones has been destroyed. Naruto, Temari, and his clones were currently engaged in combat with Minato, and they were not having much luck. With his smaller fans in hand, Naruto started firing wind blades at Minato, who just threw his kunai to dodge the blows. "Damn it, hold still," Naruto yelled as he launched another wind blade at Minato. A Naruto clone approached Minato, who dodged under the wind blade. The clone used its gauntlet blade to attack Minato, but Minato repelled it with his kunai. Then, Minato used his kunai to sweep kick the clone, knocking him onto the water, and then he drove his kunai into its chest to destroy it. "Oh shit," Minato said, making Naruto uneasy. "I'm trying. But unless you put that seal on me or someone kills my summoner, I'm on autopilot," Minato said as he leapt back. Minato's 3 remaining clones all stood back to back in a 4-point formation. "What?" inquired Naruto. Minato shook her head and said, "I'm about to use my 4-corner flashing wolf fang technique." Temari asked, perplexed, "You're what? Why is the name so long?" As he and his 3 clones helped each other up with their kunai, Minato said, "Just watch." Then, as the Naruto clones surrounded them, Minato and his clones vanished in flashes of yellow, and he and his clones started attacking the Naruto clones. The speed at which Naruto's clones were being destroyed astounded both Naruto and Temari. Minato and his clones were switching between the 4 different kunai in order to avoid staying in one place, effectively creating a square kill zone. "We got to do something," Naruto said, and Temari nodded. "Shit. He taking out my clones," Naruto yelled as he made the hand sign, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto then created another 500 clones, all of whom rushed in before all of his original clones were destroyed. "I have a thought," Temari uttered. Before flashing away to another clone and kicking it, Minato flashed to a kunai and stabbed a clone, dispelling it. Just as he was about to flash again, he heard a shout. When Minato turned to face Temari, he saw that she was using her fan to create a powerful gust of wind, which Minato and his clones saw as they executed the Wind Scythe Jutsu move. A moment before the Wind Jutsu struck the large group of Naruto clones, dispelling them, Minato and his clones threw their kunai into the air and flashed away, dodging Temari's attack. Naruto yelled, "Hey Dad," from above while brandishing a big fan. His eyes were bloodshot and slitted, and his fan was glowing red. "Take this," Naruto said, swinging the fan to unleash a wind jutsu powered by the Kyuubi chakra. Minato saw this and threw his kunai back towards the water, destroying his clones in the process. When Minato turned to face the water below, she was startled to see Naruto standing in front of him holding a Rasengan and shouting, "Got you now." Naruto then drove the Rasengan into his father's stomach, sending him flying backwards. Minato was launched into the air, and Temari seized the opportunity to run behind him. She closed her fan and prepared to use it as a club. "Batter up," Temari exclaimed as she swung her fan at Minato. When Minato was struck by Temari's fan, he broke in two and dropped his kunai into the water. The kunai sank to the bottom of the bay. Naruto and Temari started running towards Minato as he splashed into the water, using chakra to stay afloat. "Okay, we crippled him," Naruto said, leading Temari to sprint ahead. "Hurry and let's." A powerful surge of chakra emanating from Minato stopped both Naruto and Temari. A recognizable red chakra surrounded Minato as he began to reform. Minato stood back up and said, "That was a good try, Naruto. You were able to make me lose my kunai, but now you have to deal with another problem." His pupils turned orange, and he started to glow like he was on fire. "Now you have to deal with the other half of the 9 tails." When Naruto heard this, Temari and he both had terrified expressions on their faces. "What the hell do you mean, other half?" Naruto exclaimed, looking confused. When I seal the 9 tails into you, I split it in half. You have the yang half and I have the yin half, said Minato. The only reason it can use this is because of that half and the fact that the fox let me. So now you'll have to use yours as well. Minato was startled when Naruto yelled, I don't have that. I barely learned Sage Mode for the toads, and I never even used it before in combat. I haven't learned anything like that. Minato was thinking, this is bad, he can't beat me with just what he knows. Naruto hasn't mastered the 9 tails yet. Just as he was finishing his thought, someone landed a few yards away, making everyone jump. Utakata said, so this is the power of the 9 tails. How frightening, as he stood on the water's edge and faced Minato. Temari said, what the hell are you doing here? And Utakata gave her a sidelong glance. I felt an ominous presence from this man. So I stayed away and observed him, Utakata stated, and looks like that was the right decision. He's quite the formidable opponent, his legends appear to be true. Utakata gave Naruto a sidelong glance as he said, well, what now? You two by yourselves cannot stand up to him, Utakata stated, but, the Jinchuriki of the 6 tails and the 9 tails, we have a chance. What a fantastic opportunity, Naruto inquired, and Utakata inhaled deeply. After Utakata remarked, a slim one, Naruto nodded. Naruto remarked, good enough for me. Temari, are you ready? Opening her fan, Temari nodded and said, I'm as ready as I'll ever be. Utakata brought his bubble pipe to his lips and said, I hope I don't have to use my version 2 form. I don't have that much control over it, before focusing his chakra and transforming into his 6 tails version 1 form. In addition to focusing his chakra and raising his fans, Naruto silently said to himself, hey Fox, I'm going to need some of your chakra. As the Kyuubi started to release its chakra, it remarked, very well, but make sure you get my other half back. I wish to be whole again. As the Kyuubi's chakra started to envelop him, Naruto thought, you got it. His whiskers darkened, his nails lengthened, his canines sharpened, and the chakra started to take shape. Naruto's chakra changed, forming 2 ears on his head and a single chakra tail that formed, a little more, he thought. A second chakra tail formed, and he started to experience dizziness. Shaking his head, Naruto pushed even harder, thinking, give me a little more, as he formed a third chakra tail and briefly lost consciousness, but he was able to gather his thoughts and decide that, okay, as long as I don't go farther than this, I should be good. After removing both of his fans, Naruto declared, let's get started.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.